Jim, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
Ask me in 3 hours.
I was
and
gonna say, I
9
shouldn't
minutes.
even ask at this point, should I?
Nope. One, two, three. 1. Hi, I'm Eric, Executive Director of Whitewater Community Television. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. The last time you heard from me from this studio, I was telling you that we were putting in focus on hiatus and that some of what you heard about Whitewater Community Television was actually true. We are going to be doing some changing over the next little bit, trying to create a new model for what it is that we do. Over the next 3 hours across the Whitewater Community Television family of stations, whether you're watching us on WGTV Channel 11, WETV Channel 20, or Whitewater Community Television WCTV Channel 21, maybe you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, we will be talking to you about who we are and what we do. We have found out just through conversation that not everybody understands who we are, how we're run, and what we have been doing since 1988. So you'll be hearing from former board members, current board members, former staff members, student interns, the gamut of people that we have touched around the community. Since 1988, Whitewater Community Television has focused on providing government transparency, community information, entertainment to Wayne County residents, primarily on our 3 cable television channels, but also on our social media network of Facebook, Twitter, now X, Instagram, and YouTube. We hope that by the time we're done today, and with what our radio partners are doing tomorrow on WCTV Radio Day, hopefully you'll have a good idea of who we are, what we're trying to do, and why we're asking you to support us. Thanks for tuning in today. To help get us started, a member of our staff has created a little video just to provide you with some background. So, Ryan, let's go to that.
You are watching Whitewater Community Television, Cable 11.
Since 1988, Whitewater Community Television, WCTV, has been a trusted source of local programming for Richmond, Indiana, and all of Wayne County. Located on the campus of Indiana University East, WCTV has spent decades connecting our community with coverage you won't find anywhere else. From local events and government meetings to educational programming and original shows, WCTV is dedicated to informing, engaging, and celebrating the people and stories that make Wayne County unique. As a PEG station standing for public, educational, and government access, WCTV serves the community through 3 distinct channels, each playing a vital role in local broadcasting. WCTV on Channel 21 is our public access channel, a space where community members can create and share their own programming. From talk shows to area church services, it's a platform that gives our residents a voice and a place to share their stories. WETV on Channel 20 is our educational access channel dedicated to learning and school activities. It features a variety of educational content, from lectures and projects to local high school and college sports coverage. It's also home to much of our original programming, including The Third Sector, which highlights nonprofit organizations making a difference. Inside IUE Sports, keeping fans connected to Indiana University East athletics. And Access to the Arts, showcasing creativity and talent from across our region. Additionally, Let's Talk Together, In Your Business, and many other programs provide platforms for meaningful conversations that matter to our community. WETV is also where you'll find coverage of other area sports, holiday events, and parades. WGTV on Channel 11 is our government access channel, ensuring transparency by broadcasting an average of 250 unedited and unbiased city and county council meetings, advisory boards, plan commissions, public hearings, and other government-related content every year. These broadcasts keep you informed about the decisions that shape our community. WGTV does more than just broadcast government meetings. It serves as a vital hub for civic engagement in Wayne County. It's home to In Focus, our long-running public affairs program. WGTV also brings you live coverage of important civic events like our In Focus candidate forums and election night coverage, ensuring that the moments that matter most to our community are accessible to everyone. Together, these three channels uphold the mission of public access television by fostering community engagement, lifelong learning, and open government communication. Behind every broadcast, every event, and every program is a small but passionate team of professionals and students from IU East and area schools who work tirelessly to bring WCTV's programming to life. They're not just broadcasters. They're your neighbors, your friends, and your community members, many of whom who grew up right here in Wayne County. Their dedication ensures that our local stories are told, our voices are heard, and our community stays informed and connected, both on television and across social media. Watching WCTV is easier than ever. All three of our channels are available to Comcast subscribers in Wayne County. You can also stream WETV and WGTV live on our website at wgtv.vibit.com. And most of our content is available on demand through our YouTube channel. Stay connected with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, where we share updates, highlights, and behind-the-scenes moments from around the community. Since 1988, Whitewater Community Television has remained committed to keeping our community informed, engaged, and empowered. Whether you're watching city council meetings, local sports, educational or musical programs, or original content, WCTV is here, your trusted source for local coverage, community connection, and programming that truly matters.
TV studio. Thanks for joining us today. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of background. It's interesting to sit here with someone, have their face pop up on the screen and go, I don't even remember what that was. Dave Snow is going to be my co-host this afternoon. He's a WCTV board member. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Eric. I'm thrilled to be here today. And what a tremendous video package that was.
Steve Bonwig of our staff put that together. He found some things that I did not even know were in the archive. I didn't know we had that. I didn't know we had that.
Yeah.
And you obviously didn't remember doing what would have been a quiz bowl
Right.
years ago.
I said, what was
that
video
was
clip?
from.
Yeah. Well, you know, you can watch that video and you can see the quality of the production that happens here at WCTV. And when you watch that, it also has such a feeling of home. I mean, that video just pours out Richmond and Wayne County. And so it shows the importance of what WCTV does and what it offers and the quality of the production and the staff that's behind the scenes working on everything that happens here every day. So major kudos to the crew that put that together.
WCTV has been very fortunate to have some incredible staff through the years, as well as some incredible board members. David's a board member now. We're going to turn to Tony Foster, who's the general manager of Richmond Power and Light, who is a two-time WCTV board member.
Yes.
You were on many years ago.
Probably in the early 2000s.
Okay.
And then most recently, I think 2019 through 2023.
Yep.
Something like that.
I asked you to come back and help out, be treasurer and that type of thing. So you have seen it at a couple of different stages in its life. Talk about what WCTV, because you're doing Richmond Power and Light now, but you were also very involved. We saw the inauguration of Sally Hutton,
yes.
one of the pieces I didn't know we had.
Oh, nice.
But you were working in government, so you've seen what WCTV has been and done through the years.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always amazing how many people will see you on WCTV and talk to you about the program that you were hosting or the interview that you were a part of. And so throughout my career, since the early 2000s to present, I've had a relationship not only as a board member, but just being a part of WCTV with different programs through, being city council and now the recording of Richmond Power and Light board meetings, for example. So a wide plethora of exposure, yes.
What was it like being a board member of this organization back in the early 2000s? It started in 1988, but what was that like? It was a slightly different time. We didn't have all of the technology that we do now. We don't have all of the social media sites, things of that nature.
Yeah, I think then it was a much different channel or set of channels than it is now. And now it's so much more interactive with being able to watch it not only on cable TV, but with Facebook Live, and being able to put the shows on YouTube has been tremendous, and being able to watch those anytime has been a great thing. Plus now the fact that WCTV covers so many communities in Wayne County that everybody in the county is now connected with what their local elected officials are doing in their public meetings, and it's just amazing to see how it was before, which wasn't bad, but how really stellar it is now.
That's true, and I'm sure Tony would agree, being in city government for so long and in a position of leadership. And we're going to get to a point in this broadcast where some of this is going to come to you, the viewer, because we're going to be asking for donations throughout this broadcast and throughout tomorrow. And the reason we're asking for those donations is because, Eric, you spoke about technology, and Tony, you spoke about how much it's grown. But through that growth in technology, we've seen lots of people that are able to break things into small pieces and form opinions and reposition things, but there has to be a repository of the unedited, unbiased facts as they were laid out.
Right.
And in today's high technological world, that is surprisingly difficult to find. And it's a reason why WCTV is so important, because you can go to WCTV, you can see these meetings in their entirety, unedited, unbiased, and just provided to you to make your own opinions and to see the facts as they were laid out. And I know the positions that you've been in through the years, and my time as mayor for 8 years, vitally important to be able to refer people back to the actual meeting where the actual discussion took place, and let them form an opinion based on that.
The full conversation, as it were, which we've gotten away from. We talk about how short attention spans can be. People aren't necessarily trained by that all the time. There are a number of people who have come up to me, and I'm like you. I've been at the farmer's market and have somebody walk up to me and go, I enjoyed the interview that you did with, and then, it's a matter of turning around and, okay, and your name is, because it's not somebody I know. And that has been happening more and more as we have been able to put the information out there. And I know that for a number of years was one of the things that kept WCTV from growing. It was only available on cable, and everybody didn't have cable. We are such a rural community that some people would hear the name, but not really know or understand who we are and what we did.
Right. Absolutely. And I'm sure you would agree, Tony, that it would be much more difficult to relay a message out to the community that matters to all of us without a stream like this or an organization like this.
Yes, and that's one of the things I enjoy. And as I prepare my board meeting presentations, for example, I always keep in mind who's watching from home, because usually there's no one in the audience, but there are people watching from home. So I always try to take that perspective. If you were here, what would you want to know? And so it does help me having WCTV present. It helps me, try to hone in on my communication methods to get more information out there to the public. So it's been a true asset. And I do want to mention, I'm also wearing the hat today of the board chair for the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce. And some of the things that WCTV partners with the chamber on, for example, are the candidate forums and the election night coverage. And again, valuable tools for our community to be able to see the candidates and hear exactly what their opinions are live without it being edited through other sources like you mentioned before. So,
All right. and I'm probably a little biased on that front, and we're going to talk more about that as we go through the broadcast. But there, to me at least, are two really important reasons that this organization needs to exist and why people should support it to continue that operation. Is because there are lots of avenues that people can use to campaign for an office. But first and foremost, everyone should have access to campaign for any office. That's how our democracy is built.
Right.
And on WCTV, you can do that at no charge. So we have opportunities to come in here and debate and discuss, and candidates aren't charged for that time. We don't want candidacies for office to turn into a money game and who has a certain amount of money to purchase advertising on commercial broadcast stations. The other part is you kind of need to see your potential leaders in this position and talking and presenting themselves so you get an idea of how they'll present themselves in office. And those two things to me are vital, and it's why even after coming out of the office, I want to be a board member. I mean, I sat in the hot seat in here many times, but I want to do everything I can to support this so that everyone has that opportunity to step up and run for an office and lead our community, and it's really, really important to me.
Absolutely.
Our partnership with the Chamber is important. We are actually next week going to get to show this year's Civics Bee.
Oh,
we haven't been
yes,
able to show it. We recorded it,
Uh-huh.
but you have to wait for a period of time until most of the preliminaries are done across the country because we also put it on YouTube for people who can't see it. You don't want somebody in a neighboring state being able to pull answers from
true.
what we've recorded.
Sure,
so
that's
we
true.
just got permission from the Chamber to release that. So that will be released next week.
Excellent.
But thank you for being here. I know Melissa was going to try to be here. Is there any update that you want to, since you're here, you're live,
Yes.
anything you want to mention about the Chamber, what they're doing? That's one of the things that we can do. So,
Well, the Civics Bee, I would encourage everybody to watch that because that is something relatively new that we've been participated in.
second year, I think.
Yes, and so it's been a really excellent program for the youth in our community. And just the Chamber continues to grow and do wonderful things for the community. This year we embarked on a strategic planning process, and we're still working on the results of that. But the Chamber wants to continue to be a community partner in all aspects of our community's growth. So appreciate Melissa allowing me to be here, and also the fact that I could be here to talk about RP&L. So it's always fun to talk about RP&L.
And RP&L has been great working with us. We've had a chance to do some public service announcements for
Yes.
RP&L during the last year. We'll do more this year. But what should folks know about Richmond Power and Light? You all continue, and we talked about technology, you all continue to use technology to make it easier on residents to connect with you all as well as understand what's happening with their metering systems.
Exactly. So that's one of the things WCTV helped us with was a short video that we use on social media and other platforms to promote our mobile app where you can pay your bill, check your usage, report an outage, or during an outage situation, look at an outage map where we can post updates on there. So no longer are the days where you need to pick up a telephone and call us to tell us there's an outage. You can pick up your smartphone and you can look at that outage map and you will see on that we recognize your power is out. So that was a wonderful video that WCTV put together for us to help us promote using the RP&L Smart Hub app. So yeah, we're always trying to find ways to be a little more technologically advanced to get the word out to our citizens, just because, well, our citizens are also very much into technology. So we want to do all we can.
And you use it well during your meetings, during your budget time. I
Yes.
can tell that you think about how people will be watching and what they will be seeing.
Yes.
You've always got pictures. Everything matches up very well. So you use the technology very well.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anything you want to
I just want to thank you for your time, Tony.
Oh, no
You've been
problem.
a great community leader for so many years. So
appreciate
thank
it.
you for your continued work, and thank you for being here today to
Thank you.
talk about the importance of WCTV.
I wouldn't miss it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
All right.
We're going to take a break, come back, and actually the first employee of Whitewater Community Television is with us. We're going to hear from him about the early days of this organization and what they were focused on and trying to do for the community as we continue with this In Focus special, putting WCTV in focus on WGTV, WETV, and WCTV.
SmartHub is a web and mobile app that allows you to do business with us like never before. You can manage your account, view and pay your bill, monitor your uses 24/7, report outages, and receive important notices, all in the palm of your hand. You will be able to save time and money with features like paperless billing, autopay, and much more. For more details on SmartHub, visit us online. Presented by Richmond Power and Light, your locally owned electric utility, building Richmond a better tomorrow.
Richmond Sanitary District curbside current and upcoming services in your neighborhood. Bag trash goes in your green Rosie roller. Loose unbagged recyclables go in your blue Richie roller. Aluminum and steel cans, plastic bottles and jugs, glass bottles and jars, newspapers and magazines. Coming soon, folded and broken down corrugated cardboard will be collected in a new tan roller. Please complete a few survey questions so we can determine your interest in curbside cardboard collection. No access to internet? Please call Debbie Tevis at 765-983-7456 to sign up.
And welcome back to our In Focus special on WGTV, WCTV, and WETV in Richmond, as well as on Facebook and streaming on YouTube. And we are asking you, please, to go to WCTV.info, click on the donate button, and make a donation. We actually have two anonymous donors who are going to match up to $3,000 worth of your donation. So we are asking you to go, and we're not going to tell you how much. Whatever large, small donation you can make to Whitewater Community Television so that we can continue serving you in the community, we would appreciate it. I'm Eric, joined by Dave Snow, WCTV board member, former mayor of Richmond, who has obviously for 8 years really saw up close what we were about through a number of different things that you had to do. We may get into some of that, but Maybe not. It might be easier if we don't.
I think we should. No, I think it's great because there were many times as mayor that there was something that we needed to communicate or wanted to share, and WCTV never said no. I mean, it's a resource that's always there for community leaders when you decide that something, and sometimes it was a warm and fuzzy. Sometimes it was the lighting of the tree at Elstro Plaza, the Christmas tree. Sometimes it was sharing out some good news about a project completion or something. And sometimes it was important information or bad news that we had to share. But WCTV was always there sharing that message in its entirety, unbiased, unfiltered, and then maintaining that so people could watch it if they didn't see it in that moment, and still unedited.
Right.
And that is rare today. That is very difficult to find.
It is very rare to find. You are right. And one of the things that the staff has been very proud of is that there are we felt that there was important information that we did not need to touch. We needed to make it look as good as we possibly could, but it wasn't our message to craft. We just needed to deliver the message to the community so that they knew what was going on. I assume that was always part of what was going on. Joining us in the studio, Tony Foster has moved off. Jim Russell has moved in, and Jim spent 15 years with Whitewater Community
almost
Television.
To the day.
Was the first employee, the first executive director, and then went to teach students how to do this at Richmond High School for another 15, 16
21.
years? 21 years. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. As soon as I heard you guys were in trouble in this way, and I immediately reached out to you and I said, whatever you need me to do. I mean, this is sort of my baby. I was the first person they hired back in '88, and even after I left in 2003, I've always connected with you guys. As a teacher at Richmond High School, brought programming. I noticed earlier the Richmond High School Honors and Awards was airing, and I calculated up last year before I retired that, because we started doing Richmond High School graduations my first year on the job here, and that would have been the spring of 1988.
Oh, wow.
And I was responsible for the broadcast of Richmond High School graduation, either taped or live, for every year from 1989 through last year when I retired. And in that time, there was only 3 graduations that I did not oversee the broadcast. One was I was on the school board briefly there from about 1999 to 2003. And one of those years I participated as a school board member, shaking hands as they came off stage. So somebody from WCTV ran it for me. And then COVID year, because everything changed for COVID. Right. So we didn't do a broadcast that year. And then my last year, I asked if I could, instead of doing the broadcast, matter of fact, Ryan was gracious enough to come in and run the broadcast so that I could participate as a teacher for the first time in my 21 years. So other than that, all the rest of those years, Richmond High School graduation was mine, and I aired it every year. And that's just a good example, though, for WCTV, what it is and what they do. Like Dave was talking about the government meetings in a transparent window on what's happening in your local governments, which is incredible. And we were the same way. Back then we didn't do anything. We didn't want to try to change what it was. It was just a matter of making it look as good as possible so people could see what was happening, sound as good as possible so they could hear everything that was said. And there were times, a few years into it, there were some uncomfortable years there where there was some fighting on the board. Matter of fact, at that point, it was about trying to get some money out of RP&L. And there were a lot of people in the community that started saying, well, they wouldn't be doing that if it wasn't for the cameras being there. That some of them are playing to the camera, and that's causing the problems. And we're saying, hey, we're just pointing them. We're not doing anything. Any way they act is on them. So we just tried to keep it that way, keep it as true as possible to let people see what was happening in their local government.
As a matter of fact, I think you told me in an interview that we did with you, the first thing that you all put on the air, is that right?
Yes.
Was a Richmond Common Council meeting.
Oh, yeah, we had to. My first day on the job, Sue Silberstein, who was I think our treasurer on our board at that time, she was also the assistant city attorney, came to me first day on the job. I went to her to sign all the paperwork, and she goes, okay, now we have to figure out how to record the meeting tonight. I said, oh, okay. I said, do you have anything lined up for me? Do we have any equipment? No, we don't have any equipment. I said, do we have an office someplace? She said, at Richmond High School. So we go to the high school. Well, we can't check the equipment out of the high school. We don't have any agreement in place to let you remove it from the school. And she said, well, let's go talk to the police department. So we went to the police department. Luckily, at that time, they had a couple cameras they used for filming depositions. and old VHS cameras, and they weren't even camcorders. It was more of a VCR on a stand with a camera on a pole and a little cart.
High tech.
Yeah, high tech. And one was an actual what they call porta-pack, which is a VCR that you slung over your shoulder with a camera, and they had a tripod for that. So that night I set up a camera in the corner focused on the podium, and another camera out front that I could run to get the council members and the mayor at the time and things of that nature. And then they introduced me as the executive director that night, so I went up and spoke to council. And of course, I was informed earlier in the day that we were in the budget for 1989, and that was the budget meeting. And if I didn't go up and speak, show we were making progress, there was a good possibility that they would cut us from the budget. And 4 months or so later, I wouldn't have a job anymore. No pressure, but we did it. We got up there. I made a great speech in front of them to say, hey, here I am. As you can see, we're doing the meeting. I took the meeting back to RHS. They had some editing equipment. Put a nice little 2-camera shoot together. That was the first program we aired later that week. So, yeah.
A lot different than doing them live now.
Oh, yeah, much different now. I mean, you guys just walk in there, flip a switch, and sit down and run everything. And, yeah, back then we had to haul everything in, haul everything out when we were done, pack it up. So quite a bit different.
Focused on students, volunteers. How much was that important to you all?
Very, very. I mean, the students, when we first started, since we were located at Richmond High School, probably the second thing we ever filmed was an interview with Lionel Hampton, who was playing a concert in the old Civic Hall before the renovation. And we had no equipment at that point, and we got a little VHS camcorder the high school had. They had no microphones. I went to Radio Shack out at the mall and got a little microphone on our budget. And Fred Weigel, Dana Weigel, who owned McDonald's here in town, Dana's son, Fred, and Mara Kaiser, Joe Kaiser's daughter, and they were students at the time, and they volunteered to help out, and Fred ran the camera, and Mara did the interview with Lionel Hampton as I sort of watched over their shoulder, and that was one of the second things we aired then, later on that fall. So yeah, threw that together, and that was great too, because the students there, Travis Bailey was another one early on that helped us out there, and those 3 students were probably my first set of volunteers helping us do things around at the school, because the school had no formal program in radio television at that time. It was just kids might be interested, came down there. Homer Maddock, who was a physics teacher who had sort of moved over to run an AV center in the basement, was down there, and we were working with him. And Brenda Bright, who was his secretary. At that time, they delivered videos, like if in your classroom, instead of rolling an old film projector in, like when I was a kid, they had, I think it was around something like 5 or 6 channels that they could send shows and movies and things of that nature, videotapes, to the classrooms over a cable system in-house. And Homer oversaw all that, and that was also where our feed was in the basement there at the high school. Mm-hmm. And we had a little, very old Chiron character generator that ran the bulletin board at that time, only one channel. And I think it was channel 16, if I remember right. That was it. So we could put those up. And then Homer built for us an automation system using 3 VCRs that they had down there. They were professional grade VCRs. And they had a way that when you turned power on to them, supplied power, you could have them set so they would automatically kick into play mode. So we could take a cassette, get it set up. He built a timer on some Radio Shack timers to turn the power on and off. And then if you let it run long enough, the VCR, when it hit the end of the videotape, would automatically rewind it. So we could sit there and just kick it on. It would play the show. He made a little device that would toggle to switch it on and off the air. He could play a show, rewind at the end of the show, and play it again. And that was our first automation system. And we stayed that way pretty much for the first, I'd say probably 3 or 4 years. And then I think we invested in a little bit nicer automation system. By that point, our second employee, John Sherman, had started. He came in the summer of '89, and we took off from there. And by that point, we were also starting to get volunteers who were coming to some Earlham students and some other interested people as they started to see the programming on our channel, saying, how can we get involved and maybe even do some of their own programming.
I think that access to involvement is key because it launched so many careers in broadcasting. Yeah. And having WCTV as an organization here in the community and as a nonprofit continues to provide that access to students. Sure. It continues to be a vital part of the organization. So I would assume that you would agree that maintaining that, making that donation, and supporting this organization so that students can continue
Sure.
to learn
Yeah.
about broadcasting and find this as a career is
Yeah, most definitely.
vitally
And
important.
even more so now, because as you see more and more video becoming in social media and things of that nature, it's not just television anymore. It's TikTok, it's Instagram and YouTube and all those different. And even if you work in a business, you have to be savvy about how to use social media and being able to make your own videos and things of that nature to promote your business through social media, if nothing else, is an incredible advantage over somebody else. And I always tell my students when I was at the high school that, you're learning these skills, but you don't have to go work in television. There are a lot of ways to do it. And whether it's giving back to your community, I know students that came out here and volunteered through them helping other groups because they were involved with another group. So there's so many different ways you can give back, and there's so many different ways that this is a resource for our community. We had it as a resource for me as a teacher because my students and the things they produced came out here and people got to see them in a big widescreen area. Other schools around us have done the same thing with sporting events. And I don't know how many kids I've worked with in sporting events that have gone on to do other things along those lines. Doing games that brought out here and be seen on WCTV. Guys like Sean McNally, who got his start with me doing some play-by-play on some of our shows, then went off to work at Kicks 96 in radio, now is at a station down in Tennessee on the air broadcasting down there. And, it's just a number of different people. Jason Ash Maui, who was one of our guys, were helping us with our productions and things that came out here. And now he is I believe, vice president of productions at a station in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So you have all these guys, and they owe it because they had a place, one, to either come out and work with Eric and these guys out here, or two, someplace to take what we did there and put it out for people to see. And if they didn't have that, if I didn't have a place to put an RHS basketball game, then we probably wouldn't have done them, and they would never had that experience. So this really, it's amazing. But it goes beyond that, because I know so many other things that this has affected. I know shows that have been out here for years, whether it's Tim Scales and his entrepreneur shows,
Yes.
and how many people have he launched careers for starting their own business because they've seen him and work with him out there. The different nonprofit groups that you've done here through the third sector shows, and even shows before that have highlighted disabled individuals in our community. I go back to when I was here. We did shows like Exciting Explorations with Lisa Marling that did great sort of kids programming. We went out and highlighted a lot of different things in our community for them. It was access to the arts. I can remember going in the old Whitewater Opera Company, filming all the Whitewater operas with John Sherman, and then showing our community, one, their incredible opera company, and two, something they probably wouldn't see for opera. And I love it. I come in, I tell this every time, and Dave probably hasn't seen this as a board member, but when I come in, I look in our back room. You have the library. You will have old videotapes back there, and you can still see my handwriting on so many of those tapes. And I can tell you some of those that I wrote on, and I think you probably still have back there the Cat Ambassadors, which were a group from the Cincinnati Zoo that brought big cats up here and did a show at Civic Hall, and we filmed that. And afterwards, we got to do an interview with them, and I actually got to pet a cheetah, which was an awesome experience. Jim Fowler, when he did a show at Civic Hall, we were there to film that and bring it to the public. How many of these great treasures that are on that wall back that people have seen over the years. Richmond in Motion. I worked with him, getting him started as a volunteer as he started to take all these old films and turn those into those movies. And now, that's an incredible treasure. And if you haven't, folks, if you have not seen Richmond in Motion, make a point to catch it when it's airing out here. It is incredible. It is such a great look back at Richmond. And because this organization's been here, now we have a history, an archival history of some of the things that have happened in Richmond. Footage of the explosion. The aftermath of the explosion as they're fighting the fires in downtown Richmond. You have things in Richmond in Motion just goes back as far as 1928. You have students from Richmond, at that time Morton High School, going to the 1936 Berlin Olympics. It's amazing, the historical value of that. And it all happened because Whitewater Community Television was here. I don't know if people realize that, but now those things are captured and are available for people to see from now on about the history of this town, and that's incredibly important.
It's a remarkable archive.
Yeah.
And I think a great way to close, because this will be the only time through this broadcast that we'll have 3 veteran broadcasters sitting here, is talking about the importance of those students getting to connect to broadcasting through this organization.
Yeah.
And I think you guys would agree that the first 6 months of that training is the equipment. And the next 2 years is understanding that if it can go wrong, it will go wrong.
Yes.
And it's that troubleshooting and
how
it's
to
learning
fix
to
it.
maintain your composure and problem solve and get the broadcast to air. And that is training you can't get anywhere else.
I mean, that's
Very
one of the
true.
things, as an educator, in the classroom for years, we have always talked about problem solving and critical thinking skills are some of the most important things we can impart to our students by the time they graduate from Richmond High School. And we work on that on a daily basis in every single class. But like you said, when you actually face a live television show situation or a live radio broadcast, you don't know what problem solving is until you have something. I can relate back to one of the first ever live election returns that we did here. We did out of Middle Fork Hall when our offices were located over there. And at that time, when we moved out here to IU East, we originally were in the library above us here at Hayes Hall. And then they moved us over to Middle Fork Hall when it was freshly built to an office suite over there. But all of our head end, all of our electronic equipment connecting the cable company were left here in this building. So we had to come across campus if there were any kind of problems. And we started our election returns that night live from a room over Middle Fork Hall. For some reason, the signal wasn't getting out. We couldn't figure out why. John Sherman sprinted across campus to try to fix the feed. And as he ran out the door to run across campus, I stopped for a second and thought, dove down on the floor and reversed 2 cables we had plugged into the wall, and we were on live. And then, like I tell people all the time, I said, that's critical thinking. That's problem solving. And you don't know until you're faced with that situation, just like what you're going to do. But we got up on the air and we got our first live election coverage that night. And Eric, those guys have kept it going ever since.
It's almost like a situation where the voice in my head is going, move on, move on. Jim Russell, we appreciate you being here. That's just some of the reason that we are asking you to donate to Whitewater Community Television. We're asking you to go to our website, WCTV.info. You see it there on the screen. Click the donate button. It will take you to our PayPal. And please make a donation to help keep us doing what we've been doing since 1988 when Jim was hired in, covering government meetings, government transparency, providing students with a place to work, providing information about our community, and our community continues to grow. It was Richmond, it became Wayne County, it's reaching out even beyond that, and we appreciate any support that you can give us. Jim, thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We're going to take a break, bring in another WCTV board member, our treasurer, to help kind of talk about the money thing. Yep, it's about money. We're going to continue with In Focus, WCTV In Focus on WCTV, WETV, and WGTV.
Hello everyone, my name is Colby Cox. I am a recent IU East graduate. I just graduated with my degree in communication studies, and I have been a WCTV part-time employee for 4 years, and I've been with the company for 5 years. How does that work? Well, I actually started my experience with WCTV as an intern my senior year of high school, way back in September of 2020. I got to learn a lot of great skills in editing and media production, and eventually that rolled into them offering me a part-time job once I started school here at IU East. I immediately jumped on that opportunity, and throughout my entire college experience, I have been able to grow my skill sets in video editing, media production. I've even gotten to sit in the director's chair and direct a few basketball, volleyball games. Now that's all great, but I think the one thing that I've really gotten out of WCTV is just a passion for the community and the services this organization provides. So there's a lot of government meetings that go on all across Wayne County, whether it's in Dublin, there's like 12 different meetings in Richmond alone. And obviously people want to be involved in their local governments, know what's going on, but they have work, they have families, they can't always get to these meetings, even though they are open to the public. That's where WCTV comes in. They broadcast these meetings for the public to view at no extra cost to them, and that is an indispensable service to the community. More than that, kind of going back to my own personal experience, it also provides lots of opportunities for students like myself to grow in skill sets related to media. I am about to be a student at the School of Media down at IU Bloomington, and I know for a fact that if I didn't have the experience here at WCTV, that would not have been possible. I will be forever indebted to Eric, Steve, Ryan, Wes, everyone at WCTV for giving me the skill set needed to pursue that opportunity. So I ask you something. I ask you to keep in mind that WCTV is not just a public access television station. It is not just people who walk into the government buildings, set up a camera, walk out. They are community members that are dedicated to providing service for you and providing invaluable experiences to people like me. So with this telethon, I encourage you, whatever you are able to contribute, please donate to keep this wonderful organization thriving.
You're just coming back that way, huh? All right. So, you know, when you do something live, every now and then, we were just saying it, when you do something live, something's going to happen. Welcome back to the WCTV In Focus special as we try to raise some funds here to keep going and doing what we are doing. I'm Eric, Executive Director of Whitewater Community Television. I'm joined by Dave Snow, board member of WCTV, and we are joined by another member and friend, Misty Hollis. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Dave, thank you for coming out and being on camera and being a part of this.
I told Eric I was thrilled to be here today because I'm not in a hot seat. I'm so used to coming in here for debates and forums and being stressed, but today is...
We got 90 minutes, Mayor. Let's talk.
I love it. That's awesome.
So it's been a great day so far.
Good.
And it's been really nice to talk to everybody.
Good.
Happy to have you here right now.
I appreciate you being a part of this and making this
You
happen
as well.
as a board member.
And you wear a lot of hats in this community and have for a long time, but I think today, for right now, you're here as the treasurer of WCTV to help everybody understand what we're trying to do and the goal we're trying to reach and why we're trying to get there and why it's important for people to support this organization.
Sure. So it's funny because I really wanted to have one, kind of like you, I wanted to disappear for a while and just be one hat at the YMCA, and then recently stepped back into political role on county council. And I had served on WCTV 12, 13
You were
years?
here,
Like 12,
you were
13
part
years.
of the board that was here when I got hired. So you
I
were
was
a
very
board
excited
member
about
for
that.
probably close to a decade, I would
Yeah,
think,
it was at least
at that point.
So I know I kind of changed roles of just Misty and then to city council representative for 8 years as well. So so I really stepped away. I'm one of those that feels like, hey, terms are important and you've done your time and it's time for other people to step into those positions, and I was there. And then I received a text, I don't know, 30 days ago maybe, less about that time, about some things that were happening here with the relationship with our host organization, and decided that I wanted to step back in and help as much as I can. And so it's been a wild ride, right, Dave?
It's been a weird 30 days for you, hasn't it?
It's been
Holy
hectic.
cow. So we're excited. Listen, we've got a good board. We have people that care. The people around the table care about WCTV. I think I don't know if Chris Hardy's being interviewed or not, but he did a letter that was in Western Wayne News, and it was also read at City Council last week, Richmond City Council, and it was so perfect about the importance and how blessed we are to have public TV. And for me, as an elected official, and I know for you too, when you were mayor, not everybody feels this way. But having a camera in the room creates accountability and creates transparency. And from my perspective, there are a lot of people sitting at home, cable's all they have.
Yes.
And so this is their way of staying involved and informed. And then the second part of that is that we need to make sure that promises that are made are promises kept in a public setting, and votes need to be as transparent as possible. So then there's other pieces of WCTV where the community with churches can be a part. We have shows that need to be sponsored moving forward.
Moving forward, yes.
So where we are right now in our needs.
And I think to say that actually is maybe part of our failing. Our look has always been about What's good for the community?
Mm-hmm.
What can they see? We want to be out there at Christmas time because we know there are so many people who can't see
Yeah.
Wayne County in its holiday beauty.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to bring that to them, not always thinking about the money that's attached to that.
Listen, this is a nonprofit organization, and I think, and it started that way for a reason.
Yes.
Because we didn't want it to have influence in other ways. So to keep it nonprofit, I think, is very critical. And so I think when you put people with heart in a nonprofit setting, it's very difficult to put money and cents with all of that. I get it. I understand. And I'm one of those that wants to give free childcare. You know, I'll give it to you. But at the same token, with the we've been funded through franchise fees primarily from the Comcast cable franchise fees. So when people pay that cable bill, there's a portion of that comes back to the community. It goes through the state to the city or to the county, and it should be all coming to WCTV. We're working on that. We're blessed that county government is giving 100% moving forward to that, and pretty much always has.
Yeah.
But we're really relying on the city of Richmond to step up and give us a little bit more of that share moving forward.
And that share continues to go away. As people go
It
to more
does.
streaming, the franchise, and they cut their cable, the franchise fees continue to dwindle, and we have seen almost a $40,000 drop in just a couple of years in what those franchise fees are. So that cord cutting is happening pretty quickly.
It is, and so I think what's happened from the business model is we as an organization didn't step up fast enough. We've talked about it. What do we have to do to business plan to make up the difference of that franchise fees? And we didn't really do that. So now we're going to have to do it a little bit quicker. So our budget really needs to be a portion of the franchise fees if we can get those. It needs to be a portion of the sponsorships of shows that we have to ask people to sponsor those shows or pay for those shows. Like Reed Hospital, the
Yes.
shows that we do for Reed, they pay for their shows. And then we can look at grant writing, and we also can look at what we're doing at the today and tomorrow that Dave has helped set up, which is fundraising. So it can't, you have to have we're sitting in a four-legged chair, right? So it's got to be four legs to our chair and how we raise the dollars. We're just having to do it much quicker at a faster pace than what we would have hoped to do. But I love Richmond. Y'all do too. You're still here. We're still serving our community.
Yes.
And I know people have asked you to go to our website and hit that donate button, and I would ask you today, be reassured that what we need those dollars for is for equipment, for software, for some of our staff as well, but right now we really need to focus on our technology needs.
Okay.
I think you present that in a great way because as we've discussed this as a board, one of the things that has initially made it difficult, that is kind of hard to communicate to the community, is that this funding change isn't an indictment on any one or any organization. It's just that life changes and funding streams change. Sometimes it happens in your home finances or in your work life. And so when we were presented with this, with nowhere to really point a finger, one of the things we had to look at was the stream of dollars that comes in for donations and community support. And it's really, really easy to take this organization for granted. It's been here almost 40 years.
Yeah.
It provides a wide gamut of streams and broadcasts and services and access. And so when services are ever present, which I'm sure you know from being director at the Y, it's just easy to take them for granted and assume they'll always be there.
Yeah.
And so this is our opportunity to talk to the community. This is kind of a conversation and a
Absolutely.
homecoming today and say,
Yeah, it is.
you have to support this or it could go away. And I think we would be harmed to lose this organization as a community.
There are, so Eric, how many are kind of left in the state? I mean, so there's Bloomington.
There are 4 or 5 left in the state. There's Public Access Center in Bloomington, Public Access Center in Fort Wayne. We're here. Connorsville has a channel, and there may be 1 or 2 more in the state, but a number of them through the years have disappeared, yes.
So again, we're very blessed to be able to offer our services, but need the community's help. The other part too, I don't know if y'all have talked about it yet or not, so if you have, stop me, is state law changing July 1st.
Have not talked that
Okay,
yet.
so the state law has changed that effective July 1st, any public meeting, and we are still trying to figure out what that means. Does that just mean the city council and county commissioners and county council? The way we're all reading it is that it's, Eric and I've talked about it, is that it is any meeting that's held in the chambers will need to be televised. The meeting minutes have to be logged. People need to be able to access that meeting at their free will and to be able to see it. Again, that's another part. The state is trying to force communities to be transparent, which I appreciate immensely, but that does put a burden back on the local elected officials on how they're going to do that. And frankly, WCTV is the best tool for that to happen moving forward.
That's without a doubt.
I agree.
Because there are some people that could say there are other tools out there. You know, you could use Zoom to broadcast your meeting or something to that nature. But what you're going to lose in that is not only audio quality, which can be very important, but when we were doing budget meetings and things, we always made sure to have clear documents, because WCTV will show the documents from which we were reading or the documents to which we were referring on the screen. And for a citizen at home trying to keep up with a budget meeting without those visuals, it's almost impossible. It's too much to, but when you can see it, and so that was one of the reasons I always appreciated WCTV's coverage, because there were always visuals there that the community could follow along with. And again, it was something that you could refer back to.
Yes.
So if someone did have a question later, you can say, that meeting is still there. You can go back on the website and watch it in its entirety. And finding that was important.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to watch some of the towns as we started to go into some of the towns alter a little bit of how they were doing their meetings and what their rooms looked like as they were able to see other meetings being held in Wayne County.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be important, is how do we help these other towns? But they also need to try to figure out a way to meet the state law too. So being a partner with them to both ends, how they're going to meet the state law. And others have said, you're right, hey, we're just going to, have our own YouTube station and we're going to log into it. And okay, fine, but you're not meeting the spirit of the law and the requirement when it's talking about being able to access it when you need to access the meeting when a public member should. And we've had, it has been a whirlwind, 30 days. But there has just been some amazing partners that have stepped up, and we really need to push that. I know I don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm just going to say we really need to raise about $50,000. I know that's a big number, but
this is not an inexpensive business, even on our level.
No, it's not. And what I would say is we're so blessed. We've had 2 anonymous donors step up, and you've probably talked about this, that will match dollar for dollar, up to $3,000 a piece. Then we had another donor that's challenging the board, which I love, for the board to step up and donate, and then they will actually contribute when there's 100% of the board participation. And I wish, I haven't even been nosy to find out, but I'd be surprised if we're not close to 100% already from the board stepping up. But it's been, the community is responding, and we appreciate it, but anybody who is watching at home right now, I would ask that please make sure, are they taking phone calls here while we still have a phone? Can they call?
Well, I think you have to say yes to that, and you can't say no to that.
They're not going to turn off our phones. Right? Easiest way to make sure, go to WCTV.info. Click on the donate button, just in case. We can't say that. No, we can't say that. We don't want to make people think we're going to get our phones turned off.
Well,
you probably know how to reach me out there.
So, but the phones
Yes.
here, can they call and make a donation? Because you have somebody that might be 70, 80 years old that doesn't have access to that. So can they
We can get it
call?
worked out, yes.
Okay.
If they've got a
So
credit
they
card,
call-
we can get it worked out. Or if they just want to mail a check to us, that is still good. If you're a check writer, you want to make a check out to Whitewater Community Television, WCTV, that's fine. Again, we're not going to tell you how much. And we'll
make sure
put our
somebody puts
address,
the address up there.
on 2325 Chester Boulevard, Hayes
Work on
Hall,
that.
Richmond, Indiana. So we'll work on getting that up.
We should have had Misty in 3 times during this podcast.
I know.
An hour.
Yes,
Come
the
on.
things we need to hit. And also, we
Thank
have
you.
to thank, as we're doing this, we have to thank our friends in radio. Whitewater
Absolutely.
Broadcasting, Brewer Broadcasting. Tomorrow, across all of their channels, it will be WCTV Radio Day. And during this time between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., they will be playing some sound bites from some of the folks that you have seen here and others that were not able to make it here today, and giving you a chance also to donate, to help keep us going. And you'll hear what we have been able to do and how this organization through the years, not just this current staff, but staffs previous, have been able to work with the community to provide information, transparency in government, and some entertainment too. There are a number of concerts that we have been able to get through the years, which I always enjoy seeing.
Well, I mean, just, little things that don't matter, we might not think matter, but when you have a loved one that cannot get to their child's graduation, so Ivy Tech's graduation, IU East's graduation.
Yes.
I don't know if we've done Earlham before, but I know, even
Years
high
ago,
school-
actually, we used
high
to
school
do Earlham
graduation
high
as
school
well.
graduations.
So that kind of thing is just important to loved ones as well, and is critical to what we want to offer and part of our mission. We have a lot of work to still do, but I'm excited about where we are, and I feel like we're on the right path. And again, I want to thank county commissioners for making their commitments. Well, again, those franchise, one of the reasons we're here is because franchise fees are decreasing, but what they do have, they're passing through, and I want to thank City Council and the mayor for working with us, and hopefully we're going to get to some resolution there too as well. And then I don't know, I've been trying to think about this, Dave, I don't think there's ever been an event where we've had both radio stations, WCTV, Western Way News, collaborate like they've been doing.
Yeah, that might be a first-time collaboration for
That's
all those entities together.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might get one radio station, but to do both.
Right.
So I just really applaud Amy Dillon and Rick Duncan and all the team there for stepping up, and Chris Hardy with Western Way News.
Yes.
They've just been, it's been a blessing. We're blessed. We're blessed.
We have had a great relationship with the commercial media in this town, and we appreciate their support on this. Once again, WCTV.info is where we're asking you to go. You can click on the donate button. My phone is blowing up because we are getting some folks doing some donations
Since
on
I've
our
been right
PayPal.
here.
Since you've been right here.
See, we got to bring her back every hour. We have to.
Thank you, everybody.
So,
Good job.
Seriously, thank you. We appreciate the support. We're going to let her go. She's getting delirious already. It's been a long 30 days
you
for
know
her.
those boxing matches the women used to go around with their little, sign? We should have had me do that. Come in like, we're at 10,000, we're at 2,000. Yeah,
Ryan, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a break and come back with Monica Koschlein, who's going to sit here with us.
She'll be better behaved. She'll be much better behaved.
Misty, thank you for being
Thank you,
here.
guys.
Thank
I
you for
appreciate
everything
y'all
that you've
so
done.
much.
Great
And thank
having
you
you.
to the public. We appreciate your support so much. Thanks.
We will be back with more of the In Focus WCTV special in just a couple of minutes.
Hi, my name is Nathan Hogg. Welcome to the Black Legacy Project. In this series, we will highlight Black leaders in our community. Tiffany Walker shifted careers in 2008, moving from electrical engineering to medical assisting, then earning several nursing degrees. Now a surgery nurse at Whitewater Surgery Center, she inspires others to create their own legacies. Tiffany is a proud member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Learn more about Tiffany and other legacies on our Facebook page. This PSA is brought to you by the Black Legacy Project of Wayne County and the Wayne County Foundation.
Richmond Sanitary District curbside service in your neighborhood. Bag trash goes in your green Rosie roller. Loose unbagged recyclables go in your blue Richie roller. Aluminum and steel cans, plastic bottles and jugs, glass bottles and jars, newspapers and magazines should be placed on top of the Richie roller. Folded broken down corrugated cardboard is collected in the tan roller. Please call Debbie Tevis at 765-983-7456 to sign up. Richmond Sanitary District. Our goal is to grow.
Hi, I'm Monica Koschlein, Executive Director of your Richmond Symphony Orchestra. It is an honor for the RSO to be an integral part of the arts makeup of Richmond and enhance the quality of life of the region. The RSO has been fortunate to exist in a community that has been generous in supporting our efforts for 65 consecutive seasons. Through the pandemic, we have continued to expand our programming. The RSO thanks you for your continued patronage and support.
Hi everyone, this is Caleb Gillock, former voice of the Indiana University East Red Wolves and a proud 2018 IU East alum. Throughout my 4 years as a student, I broadcasted over 270 different volleyball, soccer, and basketball games, and many of those were with Whitewater Community Television. I can still remember my first week on campus. I sat down and I had a conversation with Eric Marsh about what it was going to take for me to become a better broadcaster. I applied those lessons that I learned from him, Ryan Harris, and so many others over the next 4 years, and became the better broadcaster that I sought out to be. As a result, I landed my first job out of college as a sports director and anchor at the CBS affiliate in Rochester, Minnesota. From there, I transitioned into the marketing and production world, where I worked at a small agency working with big national clients. And now I'm proud to say that I'm back home again in Indiana, working at Circle City Broadcasting and Entertainment as a creative services producer. I'm 100% convinced that if it wasn't for WCTV, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. It was the knowledge, skills, and experience that I gained during those formative years in my college career that got me to where I am today, and it wouldn't be possible without the station and without all of those people there that worked so hard to help me get to where I am today. And I'm so thankful for the opportunities that they provided for me. So I ask that you consider donating to WCTV. And think about this when you make that donation, that you're not just making a donation to some TV station. You're investing in it. You're investing in your community. You're investing in education so that students like me can take this dream that they have and turn it into a reality where they will have excellent careers ahead of them. So I ask you to please donate to something that means so much to me and will mean so much to so many others. Thank you for your time and consideration, and go Red Wolves.
And our thanks to Caleb Gillock for taking his time and doing that video for us. It was great to see him. We had a chance to talk to him when he came back into the area. We were hoping we could bring him back this way, but he is doing very well in Indianapolis, and we appreciate his time. Dave Snow is still joining with me as we continue through our 3 hours. We're late.
We knew that was going to happen. Eric.
We knew it was going to. There's no way to get through a live show without doing it. And we have changed the person in the seat. It's always good to see Monica Koshline in the studio. We ought to have you. You should have your own little place here. We should have like your name on a chair.
I can't believe you don't have my coffee cup ready to go.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's a great segue having Monica here because we've talked so much about government and government access, but segueing to the arts and connecting people to the arts and finding community connection through the arts. I'm happy that we're making this segue because, like Eric said, you should have your own place in here. The amount of time that you've spent here working to help connect the community to the arts world through this organization. So tell us a little bit about the importance of that and the work that you've done and the progress you've seen over the years.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, we've talked about it before. We're the Richmond Symphony Orchestra, just like we're the Richmond Art Museum and the Richmond Civic Theater, but our responsibility is to serve regionally. And we take that very seriously. And all of these organizations have worked to expand their programming and make it accessible beyond Richmond. And sometimes the symphony can bring schools from as far away as 1 hour and 10 minutes to a symphony show. But sometimes the WCTV programming and recordings have been available to kids across the country. And I think that's really important. In addition to that, I think, you know, in my opinion, one of the greatest issues we're facing, which is really surprising because we're so connected, is that actually the opposite is happening. I think there's a great deal of isolation out there. And so some people find their community on the community television station. It's how they know about things. I can't tell you the number of times I've been in Walmart and somebody said, I saw you on WCTV last night. I was like, oh no, what was I saying, right? How did I look? But you know, I think that's important because then people feel like they know me And then they feel like they know the symphony, and the symphony becomes theirs, even if they're restricted from getting in the hall in some way. And I think that's the switch, right? This is our community television, and it's our time to step up and save an asset. It's really important to all of us.
We appreciate the work that you've done with the symphony, obviously, the times that you have been here, and the reach that you all have. And we've talked a lot about students, and that has always been an important part of what the symphony has been about also. And we've been able to make that connection sometimes together also.
Sure. And one of the things I really loved most recently, a few years ago, is that, we had a search process going on for a new music director.
Yes.
And you get one shot. You get it right, or, you may have to choose again soon.
And you don't want to do that.
But more importantly, people got to come in the hall and they got to see this candidate from the stage and maybe shake their hand after. But they didn't know them. And the videos that WCTV did led by Jeff Carter, were so impactful for people to feel as if before they ever stepped in the hall, they knew this person. And I think that's so important, because what they do on stage in an hour and 20 minutes is not really as important as who they are as a person and how they fit with this unique community. And so that was one of the greatest moments that we had, right? As we're selecting our future, people are getting to be a part of it. And in that way, I think people did begin to own the Richmond Symphony. It's been a process. It's been almost 12 years for me. But I will say out loud, and I will declare it, and I will shout it, and I will be excited. And a lot of that has been the multiple ways in which we provide access to people, not just on the stage. We saw our largest audience in our 68-year history at a classical concert in March, and we saw our second largest audience in our history in May. And that's some of what WCTV has allowed for us to be. There are just so many mediums with which people are getting their information and feeling connected.
Monica, I know you're busy. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate the support that you have always given to WCTV.
Of course.
Anything you want people to know? You've ended your season.
I
know people want to ask you about your Sunset series, so I'm going to ask you about your Sunset series. Are you doing it this year?
Yes. We have 5 dates planned, and we'll start off on July 9th down in the Starganet Gorge. And we're adding more information as we go, but that one's going to be very jazz-oriented and history-oriented around Richmond. Sweet. I don't know if we're presenting or playing along, but we're doing something. And I actually think it's going to be really spectacular. We're having a meeting tomorrow to kind of follow up on those details, so you'll see us throughout the summer. We think we're probably going to build a little bit of a candlelight maybe through the season, some recitals, and another big season for Maestro Lopera on the stage. But before that even, you'll find the two of us in Salt Lake City in a couple of weeks attending the National Conference for Orchestras. We're excited.
It's fantastic.
I know.
And I have to say, as a former board member of RSO, just how unbelievably fortunate we are to have the caliber of musicianship and the leadership of that orchestra here in Richmond, because it is phenomenal. And you have to go pretty far to find something of the caliber that we have at Richmond Symphony Orchestra. Yeah.
I can certainly have my irritated moments, but overall work doesn't feel like work. It feels like a lot of joy.
Yeah.
So.
Monica, thank you for the support. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming in. I know we're going to hear you during the Radiothon tomorrow, taking place for the radio stations on WCTV Day. And thank you.
Yeah, thanks for considering me.
We're going to take another break. We will be back as we continue with this marathon. We're an hour and a half in and 20 minutes behind. We'll be joining you back again here. We ask you to go to WCTV.info, click on the orange donate button, and give to Keep Whitewater Community Television, providing vital information to the community. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
next episode of In Your Business, host Tim Scales sits down to talk with Alfredo Diamond, a realtor and entrepreneur in Richmond, to talk about his story and representing our robust community.
And I love it. It's part of the business. It takes money to make money, and I try to reinvest.
You can catch this episode and other episodes Tuesday evenings at 9 on WCTV, Channel 20.
Know what's below. When planting flowers, a garden, or doing any type of digging on your property, RP&L wants you to call 811 before you dig. Electric, gas, water, sewer, cable lines, and more may be in your yard. Don't take the risk of digging blindly. It's free, only takes a few minutes, and can prevent inconvenient service outages, expensive repair bills, serious injury, or even death. That's why calling 811 before you dig is Indiana law. Know what's below.
Hi there, I'm John Foss, Executive Director of Richmond Civic Theater. If you've ever thought about being on stage, or perhaps in the orchestra pit, or if you are not a performer but you're interested in being backstage as part of the crew, Richmond Civic Theater is always looking for volunteers, and we want you. So if you're interested, please go to www.gorct.org and sign up to volunteer.
WCTV supports local entertainment. WCTV supports local information. WCTV supports our local students. WCTV needs your support to continue supporting our community, and it's easy to do. Become a member as an individual or family. Nonprofit and business memberships are also available, with benefits including video production and program sponsorship. Membership donations are critical, and when deciding where your support dollars go, support an organization that serves the community you live in. Visit WCTV.info or call 765-973-8488.
Hello, my name is Samantha Parks. I worked and volunteered at WCTV a lot in the past. I started when I was a high school student back in 2010, and I would work there half of the school day, and I would for a work-study program. And then after that, I interned there during college, and after college I got a part-time job there, and I worked there for about 3 years, and it has been a wonderful experience. WCTV is unlike anything else. It's a great place for you to learn and try a bunch of different parts of production. I got to do camera in various different types of production, live production, longer scale projects. I got to edit, I got to do audio, I got to do camera, direct, so many different things, solo projects, group projects. It's a great place to learn and experience different parts of all aspects of production. It's great, it's wonderful. The people who work there have always been nothing but nice and kind, giving me lots of advice, both, in work and in personal life. It was a wonderful experience. It meant so much to me, and it's really helped me become who I am and where I am at right now in my life. And I have nothing but nice things to say about both WCTV itself, the program, and the people who work there. And that's it.
That's Samantha Parks. Wow, that makes me feel old. Samantha was a student at Richmond High School. She did her high school internship with us. She did her college internship with us. After college, she came back and worked for us part-time for a number of years. She had a plan in her head, actually, and it finally came to fruition. She kept going, I can only do Tuesday, Wednesday. I can only do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Samantha, I believe, is still working in master control at WLWT in Cincinnati. That's what she finally left us to go do full-time. So we are very proud of her. I ran into her just a couple of years ago. She came back for the meltdown, and I ran into her at Elstro Plaza, and it was great to see her. And I'm very, very pleased that she was able to do that for us. So I appreciate that. I talk about Ryan Harris a lot, and Ryan being in my ear. Ryan reminded me that Samantha was actually here before he got here. So before I hired Ryan, that's how long ago that was. It was the first intern, really, that I had while I was here. So appreciated the work that Samantha did for us. Dave Snow still hanging out with me. Y'all gonna make me cry. And we're joined by Sean Dingworth from the Richmond Art Museum. Thanks for coming by. We appreciate
Thanks for having me. Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Talk a little bit about, from the arts standpoint, the art museum standpoint, and your relationship with Whitewater Community Television.
Sure. So it's before 2010, so I really feel old. So we're celebrating our 127th year coming up next month. I've been at the Art Museum for 27 years, and WCTV's provided an important platform for us to really let the local residents know what's happening in terms of the arts, in particular the Art Museum, opportunities to interview regional artists. We're one of the few museums that give local artists an opportunity to show their work. Events like Pottery Palooza, the Garden Tour, it really gives our citizens the opportunity to see all the great things that happen in our community, and that's through WCTV.
We know Pottery Palooza is a fun event. Didn't get to do it this past fall, but for 2 or 3 years, we've been able to sit out on the lawn and actually talk to some of the artists that you've brought in, truly from around the region.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you know, so we draw people from all over. I mean, as a small regional museum, we really provide essential opportunities for artists throughout Indiana and Ohio. Pottery Palooza just continues to grow. They love this community. I was out at Hayes Arboretum today. We're talking about the upcoming plein air paint out that we're going to partner with them. And the artists from Indiana, they love coming to Richmond. We have such unique landscape. We have, you know, these great green areas. We have great architecture. But more importantly, we have a community that supports the arts, and they come out and support it.
We've seen tremendous growth in the Richmond Art Museum over the past, I'd say, 10 or so years. And I know you're not one to pat yourself on the back, but a lot of that is attributed to your leadership.
Well, thank you.
But everyone wants to leave an organization better than they found it.
Absolutely.
And I think there will come a day that you will do that. But could you imagine turning over the directorship to a new director that wouldn't have this as a tool?
Sure.
And how would that stunt their growth as the new director if they didn't have this moving forward?
Yeah, well, it would be very difficult, quite frankly. You know, there's so much of our news and things we hear about are from large metropolitan areas, and they just don't cover what we do. I remember a trip to Indianapolis to promote an exhibition, and they said, well, you're in the Ohio market. Well, yeah, technically, but we live in Indiana, so we pay taxes in Indiana. So no, this has been vital to our growth. It's been a part of that. I appreciate the compliment, but it's really been with the support of many things, just like with WCTV and being able to get the word out. And you know, I became the gallery guy through WCTV. You know,
There's
I'm
a
shopping,
name.
yeah, I'm shopping through Meyer, and they're like, "Hey, you're the gallery guy." And you know, people with insomnia, they tune in and they see me. So it's a great opportunity, and we're really fortunate to have this WCTV.
I think you, I'm sorry.
No, go
I
ahead.
think you
No,
bring up
you're
such a good point because you said you've been at the grocery and people recognize you. Monica Kochlein made that statement as well.
Oh, okay.
And I think that speaks volumes to this organization and the job, Eric, that you and the staff here have done over the years, because we're seeing this long list of very busy community leaders come in today. They've all taken the time, Sean's taken the time to come in here and talk about the importance of this organization. But when they come in, they're comfortable in this studio because everyone's been in here before. There's a relationship established, and the community knows these people through WCTV.
So
and if we didn't have this, you know, do you think that people would know you from the art world if it wasn't through this channel?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think this puts a face to the name, gives us an opportunity to have that relationship with your audience, certainly the relationship we've developed, and be able to talk about things and promote what's happening. No, I think this is critical to that, to put a face to the name.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about what you all have coming up this summer, because we're going to use this. We're going to raise money.
Wow.
But part of what we do is continue to talk about what's going on in the community. And if we don't do that while we're here, we're blowing an opportunity.
Wow.
So what do you all have coming up?
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. So the big thing, we have the Secret Garden Tour. So we're in the 26th year. We were going to, no pun intended, put it to bed last year, but we had 849 people.
Oh, wow.
Again, from the region come to the Secret Garden Tour. So, hey, we got to do it again. So that comes up June 28th and June 29th. And then, as I briefly mentioned, we're going to have the plein air paint out at Hayes Arboretum on July 12th. We also have a series of summer art camps for youth at the Richmond Art Museum. We have 4 weeks of classes. All that's available online. And then we have exhibitions opening. We have a great exhibition by a former Richmond resident. His name is Tim Phelps. He works for Johns Hopkins. He's a medical illustrator. Loves Richmond. He found his love for art in Richmond, and he is really humbled and pleased to be coming back to Richmond, Indiana to display his art.
That is cool. When does that open?
Yeah, so that opens June 7th.
Okay.
That's exciting.
That is going to be
And I believe
great.
you told me you're a part of the tour this year, the garden tour.
Well,
correct?
I am. Yes, the Secret Garden Tour, but that's okay. If they want to see where the gallery guy lives,
secret.
I'm on the tour this year.
Well, I want to tell a funny story before you wrap up. I was taking a walk one summer evening through Old Richmond, and right behind the SOS Craft Shop, I saw a little turtle in the grass, and I picked him up, and I thought, how did this guy get here? And back then, I was still kind of using social media a lot, so I posted it, and I said, I found this turtle. And I set him free at the reservoir, and Sean called me, and he said, I think you just stole my turtle.
You did.
He was,
You did.
He was in my
You did.
yard,
Yeah.
and he was probably coming back. And I said, I didn't think to go knock on doors with the turtle. Sorry,
Well,
Sean.
It's okay. So after that, I got rid of the pond.
So I still owe Sean a new turtle.
Okay. Sean needs a new turtle, so we'll deal with that. We're asking you to go to our website, WCTV.info. Click on the orange donate button. We are raising funds for Whitewater Community Television. We have mentioned that we have continued to lose franchise fees. That has been a part of how we have been able to function really since the beginning back in 1988. Those fees are going away as you cut your cable and go to more streaming, so we need your help. We don't get anything when you go to streaming, so if you are not on the cable system and watching our YouTube videos, or if you have cut your cable and still watch, we ask you to help keep us going so that we can continue to provide the information about the community that we do. Anything else you want folks to know before we let you go? And again, we appreciate your time,
Sure.
man,
Well,
seriously.
I would just
and the
really-
relationship that we've been able to have with not just you, but your entire staff have been incredibly welcoming when we've come in.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and we will continue that, and I look forward to the growth of WCTV, and just want to encourage everyone out there to support this great organization.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sean.
We're going to take another break. We will be back. There's probably more surprises and things that I know nothing about. They just kind of crazy glued me to a chair and said, we'll let you out at 6. And we're going to bring some people in and let them say hi to you. So in the meantime, if you need to send a check, you can send a check to Whitewater Community Television, 2301 West Main Street. No, that's the wrong one. I'm sorry.
That was a throwback.
Okay. That is a very
that was
long
a long
throwback.
throwback.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I've
I'm
been
impressed
here
that
too
you
long.
can still recite that.
Wow. Whitewater Community Television, 2325 Chester Boulevard, Hayes Hall, Richmond, Indiana, 47374. My history here is way too long. So we are taking donations on our PayPal. You can send us a check. We appreciate the support that we have gotten so far. We appreciate our anonymous donors who are matching up to $3,000 worth of donations, as well as our additional donor who has challenged our board for 100% participation. So thank you for spending some time with us today. Thank you, Sean. Dave and I will be back in just a few minutes as we continue with WCTV in Focus.
Hi, I'm Sherry Harlan, program host for Let's Talk Together. Join us where we will discuss gastroenterology with Amanda Gibson and Rachel Wilmot, family nurse practitioners at Reed Health.
You need to have a colonoscopy. And I don't think patients realize that. But that's why we're there to educate them.
Join us Thursday, 8 o'clock, Channel 20, WETV.
The Levi and Catherine Coffin State Historic Site in Fountain City is open Wednesday through Sunday and some holidays. Enjoy a guided tour through the home of Quakers Levi and Catherine Coffin, where freedom seekers found refuge. Then see the site's interpretive center and learn more about the history of the Underground Railroad. Reservations for tours and special programs can be made online at www.indianamuseum.org or by calling the site at 765-847-1691.
Hello, my name is Brandon, and I am a video editor for a healthcare marketing agency. I worked at WCTV for 3 years, and yeah, I just wanted to talk about some of the things that I really enjoyed and got out of being at WCTV. So the big one for me is animation. It was a place where I could really focus on honing in the things that I wanted to learn more about and get better at, and that was animation. I had people there like Ryan Harris and a couple other editors who knew way more about editing at the time, so they helped me get from where I was, where it was more of just like a hobby, to feeling really comfortable with things like the different editing softwares that we used. And then another big one was something that I never even really thought about, which is audio. I learned so much about just audio and how to make it sound better from Steve. He knew, again, way more than I do about audio editing, so it was good to be able to be around him and hear how he did things. But without WCTV, none of those skills that I just mentioned, I wouldn't have been able to work on them. I mean, if you dug really hard, there might be a couple other places where I could have done that, but in terms of filming, in terms of editing and animation and all of these things that go into a video project, there was nothing else near me that I could have went to learn more about those things, and I mean literally get to where I am today. So WCTV means a lot to me. I still have like all of my name tags in my shirts and my hats, and it's all around in this office actually. So it really does mean a lot to me, and yeah, I just wanted to take a second to point those things out. So yeah.
My thanks to Brandon for taking the time to do that. You know, I will say I've been here for almost 16 years, and one of the things that has really kept me going and that I have really appreciated are the young people that have had a chance to come through here, whether they were high school students, college students, a chance for them to come in and really put their creativity to work for Wayne County. And that's the part. It's not doing it for me. It's them having a chance to outreach to the community and show the community what they have a chance to be able to do. And that's one of the young people that was able to do it, and appreciate them taking the time to do that. You're watching WCTV in Focus. I'm joined by Dave Snow, and we keep changing the person out in the seat in front of us. Sherry Harlan is here. You spend a lot of time with the WCTV staff and have for a number of years.
Yes, I do.
Let's Talk Together. It was Read Beside You before that. It's Medical Monday that you also do. Talk a little bit about, let's start with Medical Monday. Let's talk a little bit about that, because that is a long-term project that you started and that has continued and has been able to find another life, an additional life in its replays on WCTV.
At one point, I worked through the state, and I had to have a program that had at least 7 people. So got a grant through the Wayne County Foundation and started Medical Mondays. And we brought in different medical subjects, different community people, and it started to grow. And we had little snacks. And then once I became an employee of Read, it became a Read program. So I'm excited to say we now have celebrated 16 years, and we have grown. Some months we might have up to 75, 80 people. And the best part is people are learning. And my best success story is we had a speaker on stroke, and one of our attendees the following month woke up, realized she couldn't swallow her medicine, and told her husband to get her to the hospital immediately. And she said, I think I'm having a stroke. And we got her to the hospital. She went through rehab. She was able to utilize the services at Read through our ARU. And we actually had her on a billboard because a community program saved her life. So that's been so that just encouraged us to keep trying and learn from that.
You've spent so many years connecting people to health through this organization. And I would argue you're one of the busiest people in Wayne County. I don't know when you take breaks or when you sleep, because as mayor, I never went anywhere that you weren't there. And I also recall a time, Eric, that you and I showed up to Medical Monday, and you came to me and said, what are we supposed to do here today? And I said, I don't know. Sherry just told me to be here. And you said, same. So you're also someone that can give marching orders to the mayor, to the director of WCTV, and we just say, okay,
and we just say, okay.
And so you've just invested so much time and effort into using this as a communication tool. We've talked about government today. We've talked about arts.
Right.
We've talked about access and students being able to use this as a way to learn. But you have really found a way to utilize this to promote health and education.
Absolutely.
And you have a lot that you can share and give to people who also want to use this in their own way to use this to share health and information through this organization.
And actually, it gives, indirectly, I didn't know that by doing, especially with Medical Monday, I always take pictures and then I put it on my social media. What I didn't realize, for people whose children have moved away, they look to see if their family members are on the pictures. And if not, they contact them to say, is something wrong? Are you sick? Why weren't you in the pictures? Mm-hmm. And so now I actually have a joke. I'm like, there are no funerals allowed on the second Monday at 1 o'clock because that messes up my attendance. So the funeral directors are like, Sherry, we can't do that.
Right, right, yeah.
But it's been a learning process.
So for somebody that still might not know what Medical Monday is, tell them a little bit about it. Why should they connect to Medical Monday and connect to these resources?
We have Medical Monday, and we try to invite whatever's like a hot subject. We also introduce doctors, new physicians, or hot topics, and then they come and speak in the community. And it's also the one we have Medical Mondays in Richmond, and they actually have it at a church, at Central United Methodist Church, and we provide lunch, which is a big hook. And so it gets the doctors actually out in the community, and so they get to describe what they do, and then the audience gets to ask them questions. And we've added a new part from our community engagement, community benefit. So what if there's someone who has received a grant, then we'll have them speak on what they do. So we had, I think Crossroads Recovery Center was last month, and the audience was really impressed because often, all of us are out in the community, we see things all the time, but the average person possibly doesn't know Crossroads Recovery Center. They don't know what Brianna's Hope is. They don't know about some of the food pantries. So we give them, they usually end our meeting with like 15 minutes of, this is what we do, this is how you can work with us. And our participants seem to be really happy to learn that, because they all say, oh, I didn't know that. Probably the best thing from a Reed standpoint is, because I always say I would put my Medical Monday participants up against anyone, because they've learned something new, and they'll go to their physician appointments and they'll say, what about this? And the physicians are like, how do you know this? And they're like, I go to Medical Monday. I learned. So then they're learning some of the newer treatments, possibilities, or maybe they saw something. I like to see where they've learned something on what you see on a 60-minute medical show. Often, it doesn't work that way. So there's a process, and you're not healed in 45 minutes minus commercials or whatever. So they're learning that, and they now know the best way to extend their health. So that's really
great.
exciting.
Well, two important questions to follow that up. One, they're coming in and getting that one-on-one access and getting their questions answered, and you said there's lunch there. Is there a cost to come?
And it's free.
It's free?
I just need to, and normally we have a mailing list. You can always call the hospital and ask for me, and they'll connect you with me. We have flyers that we put out. I put it on different social media. And we try to list the upcoming speakers on various modes of media. So but the best thing, it's free.
It's free.
And so we've grown it, and we have one group, I know that they're all state hospital retirees. We have some Reed retirees. Then some of them were my mother's friends. And they got route, so now they're used to coming because they had to come to support me. But we try it any way we can get.
That's great.
There was a woman at the Richmond Common Council meeting a couple of weeks ago who spoke and mentioned that someone that she works with, she tries to get to Medical Monday a great deal. What do you know about that?
Actually, that was a surprise for me.
Okay.
Because she walked in and she said, do you know me? And I meet a lot of people every day. And sometimes I can't remember everybody. I cover, 7 counties in 2 states.
Yep.
So, and I just smiled back, and she said, I bring, and she mentioned the person's name, to Medical Monday. I'm like, oh, I know you. And she also, she's a home health person for about 7 different women. And she helps them and takes them different places. And she wanted to talk about how WCTV, for some population, that's the best thing for them, because that's how they learn about things in the community. And she wanted to be there in support of WCTV. So I was really touched by that as well.
We appreciate that support. You're seeing on your screen, hopefully you're seeing on your screen that you can actually donate to WCTV. Just go to our website, wctv.info, click on the donate button, and please provide us, the folks who have been able to do it, Bill, Janine, Rick, Lynette, Victoria, just some of the mentions that I'm getting on my phone because I see what comes in. Thank you for your time. Thank you for donating to Whitewater Community Television. We appreciate it. There was something else before we let you go. Sherry, you mentioned, and I want to see if I can get the story, planting trees on Main Street. There was a gentleman that you were, I got to ask. Sometimes I get those things off air and I just got to go, I got to get
at
it.
one point, when I'm on the Main Street board, and we were planting flowers on Main Street, and this gentleman I've never met, he said, "Hey, do you know you compete with yourself?" And I said, "What?" He said, "On Thursday nights, you're on zoning board and on Let's Talk Together." At the time, it was Reed beside you.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear I did not know that I competed with myself. I said, "Well, thank you for letting me know that."
Yeah.
That's somebody who's paying attention because he's watching 2 different channels.
Right.
And I will argue only Sherry Harlan's in literally 2 places at one time. You know, I said busiest person in Wayne County, I meant it.
You can send a check to WCTV, 2325 Chester Boulevard, Hayes Hall, Richmond, Indiana, if you would like to donate by check. We appreciate any support that you can give us so that we can continue to bring you Medical Mondays, which you can find Monday evenings at 8:30 on WETV Channel 20, as well as Sherry's show, Let's Talk Together, which is Thursday nights at 8 p.m.
Channel 20.
On Channel 20.
And I just want to, Eric, before we transition away to another break, issue just a little bit more to that challenge. You know, whether you've already given or whether you're getting ready to go to the website and give, I want to challenge you to post that to your social media pages and challenge your friends and family to also give. Let them know it's important to you and share the link with them, and let's keep those donations kind of rolling and reverberating through the community.
You'll be helping a lot of people find out about medical information. You've already heard about arts. You're helping students at the same time. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. We're bringing you that information because sometimes you don't see it, you don't know it, but we carry students all around Wayne County and show them not just Richmond, but other places that they can shoot, learn from, people that they can learn from, and they have been able to do it for years. Sherry, this was supposed to be kind of a day off for you, I hear, so you don't get those
you know I'll
very
be back.
often.
You know I'll be back.
Thank you for doing this. We appreciate you coming in.
And thank for you, and make sure everybody donates.
All right. We are going to be back with more WCTV on In Focus in just a couple of minutes.
I'm Alfredo Diamond, local realtor, entrepreneur, and community advocate. And I want you to know that I dream big. And for those of you that dream big like I do, I want you to tune into my new podcast, Diamond Podcast, where I'll be interviewing people that dream big just like I do and capturing their stories through my interviews. Tune in to our podcast on Tuesdays at 10:30.
At Richmond Power and Light, we're dedicated to serving our community and restoring power during storms, no matter the time or day. We understand that losing power is inconvenient and frustrating, which is why we offer the quickest and easiest way to report an outage through SmartHub or by calling. Stay informed about the latest outage updates by following us on Facebook. Trust Richmond Power and Light to provide you with reliable and efficient service.
446 on a Wednesday afternoon. Thank you for spending some time with us. We appreciate you watching this and donating. We will also appreciate if you check out some radio tomorrow. Yeah, the television station. Tell them to go to radio. Your favorite local radio station will be having information tomorrow also about WCTV. It's WCTV Radio Day tomorrow, which, considering my background, I guess actually works a little bit. They will be playing some snippets of some folks that you have seen here today, others that you have not seen here today, providing information again about why WCTV is important to them and why they think you should consider helping support us as we go through our day. You can go to WCTV.info and click on the donate button to be able to give. The radio station will be doing their things tomorrow between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. So we really do appreciate the time that they are giving us. Also, our thanks to the Western Wayne News for their support in this. We have had a great relationship with the commercial media in town, and we appreciate their support of what we are trying to do. Continue to be joined by Dave Snow, who is my co-host through this 3 hours. 2 hours down almost.
Yeah, that's
an hour
right.
and 45 down almost. And we changed the person in the seat. Bill Engel is with us. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
A viewer of WCTV, yeah, I think.
That's
Talk
true.
a little bit about what you like to watch.
I will admit that I like to watch the replays of City Council and Park Board. I like to see how I sound and how I look. But
do we get it?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You know, one of the things I've always been impressed by is the professionalism of the work that you do. I really do think you do a very nice job on recording and presenting the meetings and everything else to the community. I think WCTV is so important. You know, I've said before, I think this is us. It is us, by us, for us, you know, freezing a moment in time of what is happening in the community, who's doing it, and why. And that's, to me, it's really important. I'll also watch the Plan Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals and Redevelopment Commission. But I'll tell you, one of the interesting things was on Memorial Day, you did the rebroadcast of the installation of the Huey in Veterans Park,
Yes.
and that was great. You know, I see some of these guys and they're gone already, and that's sad. But it is, again, that's a moment in time, and that's our history, and that's, to me, that's really important.
Well, first of all, Bill, I have to say I'm fascinated to hear that you go back and watch the meetings, because for me, once was enough. So I didn't often
Might
go
be
back.
a different thing for you, yeah.
But Bill is someone that I consider a friend and such a fascinating individual because he comes with so many years of life experience and so many angles. You worked as a journalist for a very long time in this community.
Yes.
You've been at the helm of covering important stories and know the importance of integrity in journalism.
Yeah.
Bill is a combat veteran. He supports our veteran community, remains very active in the veteran community, and today serves as an elected official. And so I think there's so many lenses that you look through when you see an organization like WCTV.
Mm-hmm.
The communication it provides, the integrity, the non-biased information, and the support it shows to veterans, showing programs like the installation of the Huey. And so how do you, I know that's hard to speak to all that at once, but I'm sure that this is something that has to be as important to you as it is to us.
Yeah, well, Dave, that's a really good point, because I've always been impressed with the variety on the various stations, you know, parades and church events, Wayne County Fair Queen and everything. But it's easy for me to look at what is coming and what is programmed. You know, it's funny how you flip around on television and suddenly you land on the Board of Zoning Appeals and you want to see what they're talking about. The same way, I'm real happy that you're now doing not code enforcement, the
unsafe buildings.
Unsafe buildings. I find that really interesting. But to your question about the importance, I believe in an informed citizenry. And, you know, I have dealt with, and you've dealt with, the innuendo, the rumors, the ugliness about what's happening on 5th Street, 5th and East Main. And, you know, it's frustrating. If you want to know what's happening, come to the meetings. or watch the meetings. There are plenty of opportunities. You can watch it after the fact. It's rerun and rerun. That's more important to me than trying to respond to these crazy rumors and the crazy issues that you see, the posts on Facebook and that. So if I am not, I want to be involved and I want to be informed. So if I don't know what's happening at the Redevelopment Commission, I get a chance to take a look. Park Board is the same way. You know, that's important to me. And maybe I'm a nerd for saying that, but I do find it real fascinating. This is my community, and I do want to know who's doing what and why.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's a nerd thing at all. We talked about this a little bit earlier, and for those that may just be tuning in, and you know this so well as a current elected official, people can take the meetings and the broadcasts and they can break them into smaller pieces or not even show a video and just form an opinion and then share that as though it was something that happened. And it can really confuse people. But as an elected official, and I did this all the time, when you can refer people back to the meeting in its entirety on WCTV's website, it goes miles.
Yeah.
Because if the individual is genuinely upset about something that they may have read on social media, and they really do care, you can say, I would encourage you to go to WCTV.info, click that link into the archive, watch that meeting, and then get back with me. And that solves 97% of the miscommunication issues.
Of course it does. And I'll say I use the TV station when I'm seated on council, because if I don't understand the situation, if I don't understand the legislation, the ordinance, whatever, I have to ask questions because I assume that the public is not going to understand it either. So I try to ask as many questions as possible. Let's get it all out there. Let's look at it. And then make up our minds, you know.
Yeah.
One thing that always drives me crazy is, you know, I guess I look at Facebook and things too much, but I see comments about what are my ulterior motives. Well, you don't know my ulterior motives. You know, people would complain that I didn't understand the park budget. I didn't write the park budget, but I do ask questions about it. Anyway, I do use your station, and I love it.
Well, and I think you bring up a good point there, Bill, because one of the foundations of democracy is the nuance of the forum. And I'm not going to get on my soapbox because any of my friends watching will say, uh-oh, here he goes. But social media has really taken the nuance away from the forum and the discussion, and it pushes you one way or the other. But doing what you're doing and asking a lot of questions, it reestablishes the nuance of the forum, and you must have the forum. You must have the discussion, or you can't build democracy and move forward. So I appreciate that you do that.
And I'm using some of my skills as a journalist I always think if I can't leave a meeting and explain it to anyone, then I'm not doing my job. I shouldn't be voting on these things. So I try to do that. I try to make it as plain and get it on the record and make it as plain as possible.
That's great.
So. And the other thing I want to mention is it's not all, you know, just city and county government and government. There are so many other things, and the variety again is what I love about the station. You know, the old Tim Scales and his show. I love that show. I think it's a good show.
Business.
And it's because I see people I know, and I want to hear what they have to say. But you know, Boston Beaver and those guys used to have a show.
Yes.
And you know, I'd be flipping around, and all of a sudden I'd land on it, and it'd be 20 minutes later, and I'm listening to some case at the state level of some case of point of law. But that's what's interesting to me is the variety also.
Yeah.
I think as a journalist, you probably see things a little bit differently because of the fact that you're watching meetings that you covered years ago. You're hearing what has moved, and to a certain extent sometimes what hasn't moved.
That's exactly right. Yeah. It has always occurred to me, wait a minute, someone should be asking them this question, you know, because it's not clear. If it's not clear to me, I'm assuming it's not clear to the public either. So
it's a good way to think about it.
Yeah. But I do bring that to it. So
cool.
That's great.
Thank you for being here.
Sure.
Thank you, sir, for your support of WCTV. We appreciate you watching and encouraging people that you know to support what we do.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do is trying to talk it up as much as possible. You know, we have a council meeting coming up, and we'll be talking about this
And
very
I've made
subject.
a point of not asking you about
Okay.
that on purpose. I've made a point of
'Cause
not
I-
trying to put you into a box right here.
Good idea.
And I'll,
'cause I
and I'll
may say
piggy-
something I shouldn't.
And I'll piggyback on what Eric said and say thank you for your service and your
Yeah.
continued support of the veteran
Oh, I
community
appreciate
and all
it.
that you do. You still
You
do
know,
a
I've
lot.
always appreciated your support of veterans and
Thank you.
veterans events and things. I don't know that the community always understood that, but you did a great job. You're a big supporter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're asking you to go to our website, wctv.info. Click on the donate button, donate whatever you feel like you can. We're also asking you to share that information with your friends, your family, not just here in Wayne County, but our reach, interestingly enough, is outside of this county. We share programming with TV3 in Connorsville. So we have been sharing programming back and forth for a number of years. Some of you saw their gardening show that we used to run. We send programming from Ivy Tech, Indiana University East, some of our student things down to Connorsville, and they send things back to us. So this is a regional thing, as you've heard throughout the day. So we appreciate your support of that. If you want to send a check, you can do that. 2325 Chester Boulevard, Hayes Hall, Whitewater Community Television, or WCTV is who you can make the check out to. Richmond, Indiana, 47374. We are going to take a break, allow Dave and I to kind of stretch our legs. We will head into the home stretch of this as we continue with WCTV on In Focus.
Hello, I'm Ryan Harris, video editor and director for Whitewater Community Television. I've had the pleasure of working for WCTV for nearly 15 years, and during that time I've had the opportunity to work on a variety of productions, as well as meet many different people throughout our county. When I started back in 2011, I thought I had a pretty good idea of what public access television was and how it serves communities. It only took me a few months to really understand the impact that our local television station has on our community. I've had wonderful opportunities to work with private business owners, non-for-profit organizations, local and state government officials, high school and college students, and every person imaginable in between. I truly enjoy the wide range of programming that WCTV offers, from sports to musical performances to talk shows to live event coverage, all of which are informative and entertaining to Richmond and Wayne County citizens. Here's just a sample of some of the productions I've been fortunate to be a part of. Enjoy.
That's right, Rick. Whether it's collecting totes, food, or just showing support, we're all in for our community.
And we're proud to call Richmond home. G103 is a proud supporter of IU East and the Whitewater Valley.
There's no limit to your career opportunities within a company our size. Here locally, there's a push to try to make sure that we continue advancing from a technology standpoint.
I think what this plant's always trying to do in this company is better the process, newer technology, and better nutrition for the pets.
The Levi and Catherine Coffin State Historic Site in Fountain City is open Wednesday through Sunday and some holidays. Enjoy a guided tour through the home of Quakers Levi and Catherine Coffin, where freedom seekers found refuge. Then see the site's interpretive center and learn more about
Hello! Welcome. Not just 45 years, but even what's been around the last 5.
This year, the EDC would like to present our Economic Development Partnership Award to the East Central Indiana Regional Partnership.
Reaching out a hand to one, influencing the condition of all.
Smart Hub is a web and mobile app that allows you to do business with us like never before. You can manage your account, view
Arabian flavors, and when you come to the concert hall,
You can just, there's no other community that has been so excited about what we do. I think that's amazing.
So let's see if we can get some of your questions answered first. Can the health department require churches to have members wear masks? Kick off your Labor Day weekend with the IU East Red Wolves volleyball team as they open the home season with the IU East Invitational. If you can't make it to campus to support the Red Wolves, And welcome back to the WCTV studio. That long break was very helpful as we were able to get up and kind of stretch our legs. It also hopefully gave you another glimpse of, everybody has talked about some of the variety, some of the different things that we have available to us, particularly in terms of the sports world, whether it has been Indiana University esports, or we almost over the last couple of years have become the unofficial home for Northeastern high school sports, as they have put together the Knights Broadcasting Network, and they feed us pretty much all of their home games starting in the football season and running through into the spring sports of baseball and softball. This year they have added a couple of choir concerts, a band concert, excellence academic, and we are also expecting to see their commencement. So there is a lot of programming from Northeastern High School that you can find on WETV Channel 20, and we appreciate them using us as a vehicle to be able to provide that information. We are joined still in studio by Dave Snow, who's been doing this first 2 hours with me. Thank you for hanging in there.
Oh, thank you for having me. This has been a great afternoon.
You know, it's almost been a family. I think somebody actually mentioned it was kind of a family thing. Jim Russell talked about, you know, meeting up with Monica Koschlein and Misty Hollis, and it's interesting the way everybody's paths have crossed through here, and we are very happy to welcome, oh, you can tell it's year 3, Ray Onko with us, and Ray, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time.
It's a pleasure to be here, really.
Our work with you has spanned through a few different not-for-profit organizations that you've been involved with, whether it's been Shakespeare Festival, now with the Reed Center. Talk a little bit about your connection through the years with WCTV.
I think my first connections with WCTV were in recording of meetings of the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Planning Commission, the Advisory Plan Commission for the city. And
another government guy.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Well, it was an important. I was amazed at the number of people who would come up to me the next day and say, "I saw you on TV yesterday." I said, "What?" And I said, "Yeah. You were." I wasn't able to be there in person, but I was interested in what was going on, and they took the time to watch the live stream or the recorded version of one of those 2 meetings as a part. And so it plays a vital role in the community for people who can't get out or who are just curious about what's going on in local government. And I understand that there's a new mandate coming in July for making sure that local government meetings are all going to be live streamed and available for recording.
Yes, actually there is a state law that was passed actually 2 years ago trying to give everybody a chance to prep for it. Obviously, it hasn't worked because we're coming up on that deadline, but you are absolutely right. Council meetings and meetings that are held in chambers do have to be live streamed. Doesn't have to be televised, but it does have to be live streamed. They do also have to be archived for at least 90 days with agendas and minutes and things of that nature also attached to that file. So that actually starts July 1. So we are doing that work already to a certain extent for the city of Richmond with the number of meetings that we cover for them. We will have to ratchet up some of our meetings for others if they choose to engage us for that. And just like everything else, and it's been talked about when Misty Hollis was here, things have to be paid for. Our days of just running out and doing because we want to for the community kind of have to come to an end.
Well, I think that WCTV can play an important role there, and I hope that we find a way to make that work for everybody involved. In my professional life, I'm absolutely committed to transparency in the courts and in the Land Records Office, and I know how important that is for people to be able to access their government through electronic means, and I'm hopeful that we can find a way to do that for all these public meetings that are occurring in our communities.
For those who don't really know what your professional life is like, because it's very much online, it's not a retail type storefront, talk about what you actually do and what you've created.
Sure. My name is Ray Ontico. I'm president of Docs Pop. We're a web-based information service. We make court records and land records from the counties available over the internet. We also provide a mechanism for attorneys and others who would normally have to make a trip to the courthouse to file documents on cases to do that electronically. And so it's making government more accessible to the people. That's what Docs Pop is about, documents of the people, if you will. So that's been part of my professional life for the last 25 years, and making government work for the people and is just an important part of us having a living and working democracy.
So you've seen some of the things that we've seen as people have gotten more comfortable going online, looking for information, researching information, streaming their entertainment. You've really been a part of that for a long time.
That's true. So that's what I do for a living. In my spare time, I am very involved in the arts, and that's another way that I have had the pleasure of working with you and enjoyed the benefits of having such a stellar facility and organization in our community supporting the arts. And WCTV has been a part of supporting virtually every arts organization that I have been a part of in one way or another over the last 30 years. Richmond Civic Theater, Richmond Art Museum, Richmond Symphony, Richmond Shakespeare Festival, Richmond Community Orchestra, the Reed Center. All of these have benefited from the role that you play and the team here plays in making those events accessible to the community and just understood and known in the community.
Well, I appreciate you coming in to talk about both of those aspects, because we've talked a lot about government today and we've talked a lot about connection to the arts. But I think there's a lot of work that you do in this community that you're not one to pat yourself on the back, and I've said that before at other events, but I find your work inspiring because much like where we are right now with WCTV as an organization, we've been given a pivot here that we have to navigate and we have to work through. And it's not dissimilar from when we thought we might lose the Reed Presbyterian Church. You took the helm of that, you took charge of that, and you made the best of it to make it a sustainable organization moving forward. And so I really commend that because it was a lot of work to take on and you really tackled it. And so I find that work inspiring because I see us in that similar position. We've been delivered some news, just like we were with that building, and we say like, well, we've got to take charge and do something to keep it sustainable. And so I know that you know how that feels.
Yeah, and I certainly don't want to take all the credit for that because it does take a village to make a project like that work, and I think it does take a village to make WCTV work as well. It takes the support of everybody in the community working together to make sure that everybody has access to the things that can be availed through the WCTV network.
That's excellent. And we're asking you to donate today. We're asking people to go to the website, make that donation. We're also listing the address there on the TV screen, 2325 Chester Boulevard in Hayes Hall. And then challenging you not only to make that donation, but to share that and challenge your friends and family to do so. But getting away from sort of the work of the afternoon, are there things you'd like to talk about from the lens of the Reed Center or Shakespeare Festival, or things that you'd like to share out to the community?
We just had a wonderful production of Macbeth that we brought up from Kentucky, from Louisville, Kentucky, to present free in Elstro Plaza with support of the City of Richmond Parks and Recreation Department. Unfortunately, the weather was not cooperative.
It's been a chilly
spring. It was a chill.
It
It was going to be 45 degrees, rainy, windy, which doesn't do well on this last Thursday night. Fortunately, and this is part of the community spirit I think that we have here in Richmond and Wayne County, is the library director, Dina Little, and Josh Imhoff stepped up and said, we will keep the library open if necessary to make sure that you can have a safe and comfortable place to present the play. So we did. We moved it indoors and we filled the room and had a wonderful production of Shakespeare's Macbeth.
That's tremendous.
We'll be doing another one later this summer on August 21st at 7 p.m. We'll be presenting the delightful A Midsummer Night's Dream in the park at Elstro Plaza, Jack Elstro Plaza. That's just across the street from the library. And there will be food trucks at 6 o'clock, so hopefully viewers will be able to come join us in person there, and we'll expect and hope that the weather will cooperate.
That's excellent.
You've also had some great programming at the Reed Center. I know your first and third Wednesday concerts, I keep hearing that the crowds keep growing. And I don't think crowd is a bad word for what you're getting in terms of a noon lunch concert.
Yeah, we have a regular turnout of over 100 people, sometimes as many as 150 people, coming to see for 1 hour during the Wednesday noon lunch hour, a regional or local artist performing on one of the historic instruments in the building, the organ or the piano, or performing on their own instruments, whatever music was appropriate. And it's an eclectic collection of events, so we have 6 in the fall and 8 in the spring. In addition to the other events that we do, we have Christmas at Reed Center, which Dave Snow has been helpful, and many others have been a participant in. And we also have some occasional Sunday afternoon or weekend evening performances as well throughout the year. So those are, you can find out more information about that on reedcenter.org, R-E-I-D center.org, for a complete list of events throughout the year.
Anything else?
I just was going to thank you for your time and all that you do in the community. You do a lot, so thank you.
Yeah, it's I got to stay focused. I really do. And I just appreciate so many people volunteering in all of the different arts organizations in particular who make Richmond such a vibrant place. Mm-hmm. And there's no shortage of things to do around here.
I agree.
You can keep up with a lot of it by watching Access to the Arts Thursday evenings at 9 p.m. on WETV Channel 20. I want to give a little plug to that. First Bank Richmond has been a proud supporter of the arts around the area and that particular show, so we appreciate them, and we appreciate you taking some time out of your afternoon. I know long days continue to add up with all the things that you are involved in, but we appreciate you coming by and spending some time and encouraging people to give to WCTV.
Well, thank you, and I do encourage people. I will make my own contribution today as well. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Appreciate
for our
it.
Community.
Ray Onco with Docs Pop, also with Shakespeare Festival, Reed Center, and the list goes on and on and on. Thanks for the time today. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back in just a moment with more as we continue with WCTV in Focus.
Know what's below. When planting flowers, a garden, or doing any type of digging on your property, RP&L wants you to call 811 before you dig. Electric, gas, water, sewer, cable lines, and more may be in your yard. Don't take the risk of digging blindly. It's free, only takes a few minutes, and can prevent inconvenient service outages, expensive repair bills, serious injury, or even death. That's why calling 811 before you dig is Indiana law. Know what's below.
My name is Luke Shaheen. Today I am a multimedia producer at Fox 6 News in Milwaukee. Every day for me, I get to do what I love, filming, editing, and ultimately producing the promotional content and campaigns for our station. I get to put my skills to the test every day, and it all really comes back to one thing in one place, and that's WCTV. Let me tell you, really, ultimately, how they changed everything in my life. 2 years ago, I was completely adrift. The pandemic had made it all but impossible for me to continue my studies at Miami University at the time, leaving me basically with an unfinished degree, zero experience, no internships, no clubs, no prospects, really nothing. I had some very, very distant real estate aspirations, but I had no real direction. Then one day, just by complete chance, I was standing outside of the WCTV station doors, reading the sign, actually. I probably had a really puzzled look on my face when Ryan was walking through the hallway and introduced himself and offered to give me a tour. And at the time, I felt like, wow, this is really cool, but I did not realize how lucky I was and how lucky I was about to be. What I saw in there blew my mind. The equipment, the workflow, the energy that I saw and felt, it was not just interesting, it was, for me, magnetic. I knew right then I'd never forgive myself if I didn't at least go home, cobble something together, and apply. I remember my interview with Steve on May 4th and just being like, I hope they go for it. I hope they at least see that I work hard. And when they took a chance on that really laughable portfolio, I vowed not to waste it. I'll never forget one of the first days that I was there. Eric kind of sat the 3 interns down and very simply said to us, you guys will get out of this experience what you put into it. And it's something that I still hear in my head to this day. It's something that motivates me and something that really is responsible for a lot of the changes that I made that put me in the position that I'm at today. The approach to content creation at WCTV is really unlike anything that I've experienced, and even down to what I describe as the work culture there is super uplifting, super encouraging, and the ability to develop your skill set there is unlike anything that I've seen anywhere else in my life, and that's true. I learned the full 360 degrees of editing, content creation, multiple editing softwares, multiple platforms, and I was able to develop a skill set that is not only competitive in today's industry, but gives me an edge over some of my contemporaries in the field. My training went beyond technical skills. They really taught me how to think like an editor. Those late night sessions where I was reworking sequences, diving into After Effects, just milling over effects and different footage, really was me cutting my teeth and helping me carve out the skill set that helps me stand out at Fox today. The variety at WCTV was my true proving ground. Steve's lessons on pacing became a secret weapon for me, and Ryan's beautiful graphics serve as an inspiration for my own to this day. Truly, they taught me how to do everything. The variety at WCTV was my proving ground. One day I'm filming high energy basketball games and sporting events, and the next we're out piecing together carefully shot footage of ice sculptures and live event footage, down to doing community programming that really showed me how to connect with an audience. When I discovered animation, they gave me the tools and the freedom and the guidance to really delve into it to its fullest. And it's a big part of my skill set and what I'm able to put into work today in my job. What made WCTV different for me wasn't just the skills, it was how they treated me too. They didn't coddle me, they instead challenged me. When I pitched unconventional ideas, they didn't dismiss them. They helped me to refine them into something professional that are still pieces of my portfolio to this day. That balance of trust and high standards forged a confidence that I now carry into the office with me every day at Fox. The truth is simple. I wouldn't be here without WCTV, not just at Fox, but thriving at Fox, and not just in a brand new city, living out my dream, but making it my own. They didn't just prepare me for the industry, they gave me an edge in it. Every success I have, every challenge that I conquer, it all comes back to what they taught me and the foundation that they gave me. And that's something that I'm never gonna forget.
Luke Shaheen, yeah, he's a young man who, and he told his story. He found us by accident and took advantage of the opportunity to be here. He wouldn't have had the opportunity if we weren't here. He took advantage of it, and as he mentioned, he's now working in a top 25 television market as a multimedia journalist. So good on him. And I've told a number of the young folks, it is not about us, it is about what you do with the opportunity. And this area, whether we realize it or not, this area has a growing number of young people who are involved in front of and behind the camera. If you think about the Channel 13 in Indianapolis, they've actually got 2 people from Wayne County working as meteorologists, one from Centerville and one from Cambridge City. We mentioned Samantha Parks working in Master Control down at WLWT, and other folks, that this area is really growing a nice group of young journalists. So we appreciate him taking the time to do that. He was a great young man to work with. Sorry to see him go. Happy where he ended up. We're asking you to donate so that we can keep doing some of that work, telling the stories of what's going on here in the community, helping young people find their voices and find whatever is next for them. WCTV.info. Click on the donate button. If you want to send a check, you can do that. Whitewater Community Television or just WCTV. You can mail it to 2325 Chester Boulevard, Hayes Hall, Richmond, Indiana 47374. We appreciate your support. I'm joined by Dave Snow, who's been with me for about 2.5 hours now. Tiring out yet? You haven't had to do
I'm having
this
a
for
great
a while.
time. Yeah, it's been awesome. And you know, as we watch that video clip there, what I think is really impactful here, because I just know you're not going to say it, is several of these people that have made these videos, they mention you by name, Eric. Eric has been here now 15 years?
16.
And 16. And the impact that you've had and the way that you have leveraged this resource to influence the community and influence young people is profound. And so I just commend you for your leadership. And this is something that I think, you know, this is not what we intended for the day. We weren't 100% certain what a 3-hour fundraising broadcast was going to look like. What we've ended up with is sort of a homecoming and a lot of people talking about what they learned here and the connections they've made, but a lot of people mentioning Eric's leadership by name. And I think that that's really important. So this is something that some people may, and it's not guaranteed, may see at their retirement party, but that's not what we're doing today, because this guy still has a lot to give and still has a lot of work to do. And so I'm happy that it turned into this. For you to be able to have this retrospective and see that your work has had a huge impact here, huge, on a lot of people. And that's myself included, because running for office, being in office, if I wouldn't have had this and someone as organized and put together as you to lead that, I feel like we would have been kind of lost, but we had this. And I'll bet that our next guest is going to agree, as we're joined by John Duke of Wayne EMA.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
It was my pleasure.
The question of the day, talk a little bit about your relationship, not with me, with Whitewater Community Television.
So our Wayne County Emergency Management, we leverage public broadcast to engage community partners, the public, and it reaches a segment that we don't always get a chance to talk to. So it's a huge resource for us, not just in preparedness information, but also in an emergency situation. It would be paramount for us to get timely, correct information out to the public.
I agree with that, and I'm going to tiptoe a fine line here.
Yes, please
and
do.
Not getting on my soapbox, but
please do.
As mayor, I dealt with some instances where we needed Wayne EMA to provide information and to get information out to the community. It was difficult sometimes to work with some of the commercial TV entities because there was sensationalism at least being attempted, and it was on full display. But with WCTV and with Wayne EMA working together, it was just clearly for the purpose of sharing important information to the community so that they had the information they needed to be safe in hazardous situations. And that is of vital importance, and it is hard to find these days.
It absolutely is. It's one of the key things to any event, emergency, man-made, weather event, whatever it is. It's key to have us be able to put out information to the public. And I also want to hold that tight line. We are not spinning it in any certain direction to fit anyone's agenda.
Right.
So it absolutely is given as what you need to know, what you need to do, those kind of things. And it doesn't matter what this person's opinion is about what's being said. It is, these are the facts, and this is what you get.
And that's of vital importance, and it's why people should be clicking on the link to donate or sending in that check to the address listed, because what you have here is a non-commercial entity, a nonprofit, which means it is non-biased and just provides the facts as they're laid out. And we've talked a lot about government meetings today, we've talked a lot about the arts, but in a civil emergency, that is where that particular component really rises to the top.
It would absolutely become one of my go-to delivery methods. It absolutely would. Emergency management would rely heavily on public television to get that information out to the public, because, I mean, it really would be a disservice for the community not to have this asset. So, you know, the donations and things that are coming in are appreciated, and as a government employee working to protect the public, I appreciate this and what you do more than you guys know, because Eric has been kind enough to get us in, and we talk and we just do these things about severe weather and preparedness information, and it really makes a big difference to reach that part of the community.
Sure. You know, back in my broadcasting days, there were lots of discussions about what streaming services, music streaming services, were going to do to radio stations. Would they be a detriment? Would they bring the death of radio? But the argument was always, when you're in the car and you see really dark, ominous clouds on the horizon, and you think, oh my goodness, are we about to get walloped by a heavy storm? That music streaming service is suddenly useless. Now you're going to flip to the local radio station, or you're going to flip the TV to WC. You're going to go local immediately, because now you need to know what's happening right outside your door. And that's why services like this will always remain essential, even in a digital world where people are factioned off, listening and watching to different things. When something is about to happen or has happened.
Yes, absolutely. And there have been times in the past where I have called particular DJs or whoever, and I'll be like, I need on the radio, or, you know, Eric, I need to get on the TV. I need to get a message out, and it's key. It is such a vital part of information sharing to our community partners that we can't ignore.
Yeah.
John, we know you're busy. We're not going to hold you up. We appreciate you being here.
It was my pleasure, gentlemen.
Absolutely. It's
Hopefully
always
we'll have
nice
you
to
back.
talk
I
to
know
you.
you spent some time with some of the radio folks too, and we appreciate that. And we need to mention them. Tomorrow is WCTV Radio Day on all of the local broadcasting stations, on all the local radio stations. We appreciate what they have been doing this afternoon because they have been in our outer office doing reports back live on the radio. And also they are planning on taking 12 hours tomorrow to let you hear from some of the folks that you're hearing with us, as well as other people who have dropped in to speak. So we appreciate the support of our local newspaper, of our local radio stations. We appreciate their time, their effort. We appreciate you being here and the time that you've given us, and the time that you always give us, because I will reach out and go, John, I know you got something going on at Spring. What do you need?
We have some really good conversations. So, I mean, it's about building relationships, and this is invaluable.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
you
you
being here.
Thank
John
you.
Duke, Wayne County Emergency Management. We are going to take a break, bring in one of our local business people as we can get to the point where I think we can say we're starting to wrap up this 3-hour ordeal for you. Again, go to our website, WCTV.info, and click on that donate button for us. And we'll be back with more WCTV in Focus in just a moment. And welcome back to WCTV in Focus. This has been a 2.5, a little bit more chance for you to hear a little bit more about us. We have found through speaking to people in the community that they don't fully understand who we are, what we do, how we're laid out. Maybe they're focused on one channel as opposed to the other. Some, I know, spend a lot of time on WCTV, Channel 21. It has been a go-to for those looking for their church services because they haven't been able to get there, haven't been able to get back to them. Our education channel, all of the programming that we have, whether it's Medical Monday or Access to the Arts or In Your Business, which is a program Tim Scales has been hosting for, it will be 20 years this fall, believe it or not, that show has been on Whitewater Community Television. And of course, we've mentioned greatly a lot of the programming that we have on WGTV Channel 11, which is mostly of a government mostly government meetings, but we touch all of that and more. Continue to be joined by Dave Snow, who's been with me this afternoon, joined also now by one of the Depot District business owners, Maria Haber. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Good to see you.
Happy to be here. Yeah.
We have had a chance to be in and out of your business a lot over the last number of years. I know you were one of the folks when they were doing the First Fridays a couple of years ago, and we tried to get down into the Depot District.
Yes.
Talk about what WCTV just kind of showing up with a camera has been like at your places.
So we have always appreciated your support with all of our events in the Depot District. It started with our art and wine walks.
The wine walks are fun.
Yeah. We invite local artists to set up throughout the depot and sell their art. And you've always come down and promoted that for us, and we appreciate that. Dogs Night Out, you've come down and filmed all the dogs. That's a big event, and it just grows every year. That's a partnership with Blue Buffalo.
Nice.
Our Christmas Festival, you've been at our Christmas Festival, and we do a costume contest for the Meltdown.
Yes.
And we appreciated you being there for the costume contest. So over the years, a lot of things. I know I've had some students in to do some filming, and that's been a lot of fun too. So yeah, we just really appreciate everything you do to connect us to the community.
We've had a chance to hear from some of the students, and that's some of the things that we have been able to turn the students loose on. It's not always a matter of putting a camera in their hand and saying, go do this government meeting. We want them to connect to events that are taking place around the community and get to know what this community, and by community, again, we're not just talking Richmond, we're talking all of Wayne County and even beyond, what the community is like, what it looks like, what it feels like at different times of the year. And you all welcoming us in has been very important to those students to have a chance to actually go shoot something a little bit different.
Yes, and it's been fun to work with them too, and get to know them. And they come back and, you know, they'll come back into the studio and paint and thank me for, you know, doing a little interview or whatever, but it's been fun to get to know them.
You've also had a chance, I mentioned Tim Scales and his In Your Business show. That is another one that you have had a chance to be in. I know you're one of the folks that he had in when he had students in. Tim has enjoyed over the last couple of years bringing students in to watch his show actually being created. What's that like right now? Well, I think we've got Caitlin sitting in the corner, but beyond that, there's no studio audience. What is that like? Because I don't do a lot of shows with a studio audience. Your first State of the City had an audience in, but we don't do that a lot. What's that like?
You know, it was actually very comforting because I had gotten to know the students a little bit through some of the, they always come to the studio and we do a tour, we talk about small business, and they get to paint a piece of pottery. So I get to know the students a little bit, and so by the time we got here, it was nice to kind of look out and see a familiar face. So it was good.
Well, you know, everybody's come in and talked about the importance of WCTV and really been so thankful for that line of communication. But it's a good opportunity for us to thank the guests. You've not only been a great business owner to a great business in the Depot District, but a great community leader. So thank you for all the work you've put in.
You're welcome.
But, you know, we wanted that voice of business here in this discussion because, you know, when we're talking about government has an expectation to be able to share information through a nonprofit organization. But as a business owner, you know, usually a person that runs a business has a marketing budget and has to use commercial entities to market. Having an avenue like this as a voice and a connection, how much does that mean to you as a business owner?
Huge. And everything that Tim Scales has helped us do, and like I said, even coming down and filming the art walks, the Dogs Night Out, and, you know, always, you know, our businesses are in the background, right? So it's promoting our business, it's just putting it out there, making people aware of what's down in the Depot District, and it's vital to the community to have that connection.
That's great, thank you. And one of the other things we've offered all guests an ability to do is share kind of what's going on with you and in your world. What can you tell everybody about what's going on at Paint the Town or in the Depot District?
Sure, we've been busy. We've had a great season. We just had our summer kickoff down in the Depot District. We partnered with the City of Richmond, NDOT, Parsons, and the company, Beatty company that built the bridge. So we, last Friday night, did a bridge dedication, summer kickoff. We had people down in the Depot District to just visit the different businesses, taste that we did some free tastings at the different restaurants, so that was a lot of fun. It wasn't quite summer weather. It was a little chilly. It felt like a fall kickoff instead.
Right.
But it was a lot of fun. We've got the art walks coming up again this year. We've got Dogs Night Out. Something new in the Depot District is the DORA, which is Designated Outdoor Refreshment Area, which means you can get a drink and you can walk around to the different businesses and just enjoy the whole neighborhood. The Loop project is done and it is beautiful. The new sidewalks, the park benches, the landscaping, it just has brought everything together and it looks wonderful.
Nice.
Well, thank you for all you continue to do, and thank you for supporting WCTV and encouraging others to support it as well.
Yes, thank you.
If somebody's looking for information about what's happening in the Depot District, is there a central location that they can go to?
There is. We have a Facebook page, Historic Depot District, and we also have a website, historicdepotdistrict.com. So,
thank you for being here.
All right.
We appreciate your support.
Thank you.
We appreciate your support. If you haven't yet donated, we hope that you will. Go to our website, wctv.info, click on the donate button. Also, if you want to send a check, you can do that. Whitewater Community Television or just WCTV works. You can mail that to 2325 Chester Boulevard, Hayes Hall, Richmond 47374. And again, don't forget we have a couple of anonymous donors who are going to match up to $3,000 in donations. So please, we hope to be able to collect all of that money for things that we have coming up as we try to recreate or create a new model for Whitewater Community Television so that we can continue to support interesting events like what happens in the Depot District, what will be happening in the downtown area, and a whole lot more. We're going to take one more break. We're going to ask the folks from the radio stations who have been here all afternoon, hiding in the back rooms, to come out and tell you what you can expect from your local radio tomorrow. We're going to take a break, be right back as WCTV In Focus continues.
At Richmond Power and Light, we're dedicated to serving our community and restoring power during storms, no matter the time or day. We understand that losing power is inconvenient and frustrating, which is why we offer the quickest and easiest way to report an outage through SmartHub or by calling. Stay informed about the latest outage updates by following us on Facebook. Trust Richmond Power and Light to provide you with reliable and efficient service.
The Levi and Catherine Coffin State Historic Site in Fountain City is open Wednesday through Sunday and some holidays. Enjoy a guided tour through the home of Quakers Levi and Catherine Coffin, where freedom seekers found refuge. Then see the site's interpretive center and learn more about the history of the Underground Railroad. Reservations for tours and special programs can be made online at www.indianamuseum.org or by calling the site at 765-847-1691.
Hi, I'm Sherry Harlan, Community Engagement Manager at Reed Health. Join us at Medical Mondays on the second Monday of each month at Central United Methodist Church at 1 o'clock. If you can't make it, please watch us on Mondays at WETV Channel 20 at 8:30.
Gianna Fertility Center of Richmond helps nurture and prepare women. Using the Creighton method of fertility care and NAPRO technology, we can provide vital information for reproductive health as well as help avoid or achieve pregnancy. We offer one-on-one consultations as well as appointments through Reed Health, allowing access to top-of-the-line care. To learn more about Gianna Fertility Center, give us a call or visit our website.
And welcome back to WCTV In Focus on WCTV, WGTV, and WETV, channels 11, 20, and 21. And I didn't get those in the right order, but I think you know what I'm talking about, hopefully. Dave Snow is that him in the corner? Okay, he hasn't quite left the studio, but he did leave his seat.
He won't go away. I swear to God, I've already called security twice.
This is not going to be a good final 7 minutes.
I just want to know, am I in focus?
No.
Oh.
Would you expect
It's probably
to be?
better. It's probably better that
Okay.
way. All right.
Yeah,
I'm
you look
joined
like
by
Bigfoot right
Rick
now.
Duncan. All right, stop it. From G1013. I have to ask, is there a new corporate name that is going to go into place where Whitewater Broadcasting was? Question mark.
Yes, there will. Yeah,
Okay.
It'll be Duncan Media Incorporated.
Okay, Duncan Media Incorporated.
Yeah.
Okay, Rick Duncan, who is the new owner of the radio stations here in Richmond on West Main Street, G1013, 1490 AM, 100.9 FM, ESPN Radio, WKBV.
Yep.
Did
Well
I
done.
get it?
Nice job. Nice job.
And everything that goes along with that down in Connorsville and Winchester and Rushville, I think.
Correct. Yep. That's
Okay.
right.
And on my other side
I don't own anything.
is the morning personality, program director, production director for the Brewer Broadcasting lineup of stations, which includes Kicks 96, 1017 The Point, and The Legend. So thank you both for being here, and thank you both for what you all have been doing this afternoon and will do tomorrow. And first of all, I'm going to go to you and then you, since I started here. Talk about what you have been doing this afternoon while we've been locked down in the studio.
Well, the business and community people that you've had come through, it's a great opportunity. So I've been flagging them down also and just taking a little opportunity to talk to them. And we've been putting it on air, but also taking what they're talking about in particular with WCTV, Whitewater Community Television, and kind of boiling it down so that we've got a message that we can continue to get out, mainly tomorrow, as we're going to kind of turn it to the radio side to try to continue to get the message out about what's needed to keep this organization going.
Talk about from your end what you have been doing and why you think this is important.
Well, so we've, of course, been teaming up with Whitewater Community Television for a while. We are in focus on Sunday mornings, which has been great, and you know it's a great way to keep us tied into the community and whatnot, and spread the message of WCTV for that matter. But we've been doing live breaks today, telling our listeners, here's what's going on, here's what's happening, here's a few of the people who are involved in this, and you should donate and be a part of it. And and then alluding to tomorrow, we're all going to do it. And it's probably one of the first times, and Dave and I talked about this earlier, one of the first times that not only both groups of radio stations have been together, but also newspaper, and everyone is getting involved in this. So because it's a great cause, and Whitewater Community Television does so much for the community. I was talking to Steve Bonwig earlier, and I said it's the unsung hero of the community, really, because you don't get nearly enough credit for all the work you do.
Thank you. Tomorrow.
Yes.
Across your channels, what will they hear? What should they know?
What they're going to hear is the continued message that started today, and that is that this is a resource that we cannot let go by the wayside. So many things are being cut and being limited and being eliminated, and something like this, if it goes away, it's not coming back. So whatever we can do to help, because as Rick correctly mentioned, WCTV and all of your programming is vital information for the community. It's vital information that we use, that I use, that my radio stations use on a daily basis to help inform our listeners.
As you all head into tomorrow, what should your listeners know? What do you want them to know? This starts at 6 o'clock for both of you all. We'll run through 6 p.m. Talk about what they'll hear from you, and we've got a minute and a half.
So basically, we're going to air condensed versions of what we've been hearing today for the whole 3 hours. And those small vignettes will just basically be those people talking about why Whitewater Community Television is important and what they can do to help and keep not only Whitewater Community Television going, but also what you do going. So,
yeah, what we're going to do is just continually mention where they can donate, because repetition works. It's the radio motto. So yeah, whatever we can do to get that information so that they can vote, donate, and help to keep this going.
Name your radio stations.
101.7 The Point, Kicks 96, and 95.3 The Legend.
G1013 and ESPN Radio, 1490 and 100.9 WKBV.
Thank you both for what you all have done this afternoon. Thank you for what you are going to do tomorrow. We appreciate the support. It's important. And thank you all. Thank you both.
No,
very
thank you.
seriously for what you all have done.
Anything we can do.
I have to thank Dave Snow for
Why?
sitting in with me for the being nice for the 3 hours. Some names I need to rattle off: Mary Kay Tolan, John Yvonne Pine Jr., Susan Silberstein, Harold Haynes, Rich Cody, Patrick Carney, and current IU East Chancellor Emeritus Charlie Nelms. Those are the 7 names that appeared on the incorporation articles for Whitewater Community Television back in 1988. Hopefully there'll be a list of people to thank. Thank you for watching. As always, I wish you well. You are watching Whitewater Government Television, WGTV, Channel 11, part of the Whitewater Community Television family of stations.